Why? Because this method continues to grow your money even when the market tumbles. It lets you take back control of your money and finances, and it gives you penalty-free access to your savings. Plus, it beats the pants off any 401k or IRA. These are uncertain times, so get the information you need today to guarantee your retirement security. To get this free report, go to bankonyourself.com right now. That's bankonyourself.com.
Good afternoon. It's 2:05 for 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. Wisconsin has lost its reputation as a leader in environmental conservation under Republican Governor Scott Walker. According to Barry Rabe, a political scientist at the University of Michigan, who was quoted in the Journal Sentinel, Wisconsin has been one of the most active states in pulling back from environmental protections and programs in recent years. The biggest impact has been at the Department of Natural Resources, which has seen its ranks fall by several hundred people over the past few years. In a change from previous administrations, DNR officials now rarely weigh in on conservation policies or pending legislation. Tonight, mostly clear. Lows in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy. Highs in the low 50s. Currently, it is 47 degrees in Milwaukee and 50 in Waukesha. For 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome to the Cyber Monday edition of the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. How you doing, buddy?
I'm fantastic. Welcome back. Long, fantastic, happy Thanksgiving Day weekend. But it's good to be back in studio, man.
You know what the
I kind of
best...
feel like I'm missing something throughout the day when I can't, come on here on the air and express myself with you.
I didn't even realize I am taking off my sweatshirt. We matched today.
Hey, nice.
Got the Resistance Radio t-shirt.
You have great taste, Curdy.
Yes, I do, and everything but co-host. Buddy, before we jump into the meat of this show, and we got a big show. Every day, you better tune in. Big shows. We're going to do some Walker bashing. Leave some time for that today. Mark your calendars. Plenty of time for Walker bashing. We're going to get started with Scott Ross. He is the executive director, One Wisconsin Now. He's going to join us in like 20 minutes. And Scott's going to, perhaps lay some ground rules. Let's say for the ever-expanding field of Democratic gubernatorial candidates.
Oh.
Well, Scott, much like myself, is a little concerned they might bludgeon one another to the point where they don't leave an acceptable, electable candidate to go against the very unacceptable, unelectable Scott Wankinator Walker. And we're going to talk with Scott Ross today. And Scott Ross took note of a fine event that Scotty Wanker is going to be at over the Christmas holidays. We'll get to that one in just a minute.
Let me guess. It's in a warm state.
It is in a warm state. I don't begrudge him that. But I will begrudge him for appearing on this panel of deplorables. Also, Tony Evers, State Superintendent, Department of Public Instruction, a gubernatorial candidate.
Haven't had a talk on the air for a few days, right?
Tony Evers joins us at 3:30 today. And talking about elevator, I got the shaft. The Republicans are sticking it to Tony Evers in this DPI lawsuit.
Oh, I know. Can you believe it? Are you surprised, though?
No, not at all. But I mean, this is beyond the pale. This replacement, this inserting a Republican hack on behalf of Tony Evers. He doesn't want a Republican hack attorney.
But you're going to get one.
But you're going to get one because Scott Walker has the power, apparently, to supplant the will of the defendant in this lawsuit, Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. They've already lost this lawsuit once. And now they're suing again. Please reconsider your earlier ruling.
Was there a new law? There was new legislation provided by the Republicans to give cover for this, right?
Yes, but the Wisconsin Supreme Court last year ruled on a very similar matter. And surprisingly, at that time, they went 4-3. But, now Dan Kelly, Wanker's got a different conservative on the court, hoping to get a differing outcome to take away the constitutional powers of the superintendent of the Department of Public Instruction, as the case may be, a political opponent of Scott Walker.
Yeah. Timing's a bitch, isn't it?
Go figure. Yeah, so we'll talk with Tony Evers at 3:30 today on The Big Show. And you as well. You can always join us here. Toll free. Doesn't cost you nothing. 844-967-2789. Phone line's always open. Taking your calls is optional. We do them as we see fit.
Crudy, I saw some pictures of you on the Facebooks, man. You and the lovely were in Minnesota. What were you doing in Minnesota, man?
I was there for the Badger game. You knew I was going for the Badger game.
What an ass kicking. I mean, it was fun to watch. I wish I would have had some money on the Badgers because that was a guarantee after about the first quarter. But what'd you think, man? You like Minnesota?
Not a lot of drama to that game.
No.
I had a good time, probably because there was like 20,000 Badger fans up there. I mean, that town partied, and it was mostly us. It was mostly guys like me.
Yeah.
And, some people wonder. I always call her like Mrs. Trudy on the Facebook. I try to give my wife a little privacy. Just because I choose to live my life on the radio doesn't mean my wife would choose to do so. Certainly, it's not embarrassment. I'm married up.
Not embarrassment for you.
Excellent point you make there. But I try to give her a little bit of privacy when I do acknowledge my wife on the radio or on the Facebooks. I don't post a lot of personal stuff. You don't see like me and my kids hanging out, eating birthday cake, that kind of stuff. You don't see that on my Facebook. But this one, too good to resist because once in my lifetime, my dreams are coming true. The Badgers, undefeated 12-0, man. It felt great. I had to go be a part of history. And this weekend, when they whoop Ohio State's ass, and nothing's going to be sweeter than that.
Now, this weekend will be the Big Ten championship?
Yeah, and hopefully punching one's ticket to the national championship playoffs. Now, and that, of course, will be the first time in Wisconsin history ever. Relatively new playoff system. 4 teams get in. And then you got to play your way to the championship game.
Now,
and that's the trip I really want to make.
Your opinion? Did Wisconsin have an easier schedule this year? I mean, were they
last year
sandbagging it? For the first half. What do you think?
The players don't get to set the schedules. You go out there and you beat whoever plays you, and that's what they did 12 times over. I would say, can you plan these things? I don't know, man. I like when you start the season in Lambeau playing against an LSU. I love a big game to get the season started. Beats perhaps a home game against the Sisters of the Poor and a few of the other early season rivals we played against. But once you get into the Big Ten, man, if you win your division, well, obviously you deserve your place in the Big Ten championship game, as the Badgers have been 5 of 7 years. And then, you go take on the champs of the Eastern Division. This year, it's Ohio State. And we will win. To lose against Ohio State in the Big Ten championship hurts nearly as much as the thought of Scott Walker being reelected. Nearly as much. That would.
Is there another Big Ten team that you dislike more than Ohio State?
No. There's no team period I hate more than Ohio State.
Oh, really? Not the Bears, not the Vikings. I mean,
Vikings I always kind of liked. The Bears, the Bears suck, but they're so pitiful. It's so hard to hate a team that's pitiful.
I'm not into college football very much, but I know that I don't like Ohio State.
Yes. Well, you're right to feel that way. I would say it's true, bitter animus.
Oh, so Monday is going to be either a really fun day or a really bad day.
Yeah, it could be really black and ugly in here. Let's hope it doesn't end on a Hail Mary, a JT Barrett Hail Mary. That
And-
would be very galling.
Former Badger coach Bielema got canned.
Yeah, Bielema got canned. That's a little icing on the cake.
He
Makes you feel good.
He got the axe the same day the Badgers got the axe.
Hashtag karma.
Oh, nice.
You know, had he not left town in such a pompous ass-like fashion, maybe he would be more, beloved. No, good riddance.
I saw some of the reporting briefly on that, and it seemed like he was beloved. He just wasn't winning. And I think
In Arkansas?
yeah, you can be liked, but you got to
that's
win.
a mortal sin in coaching. If you don't win,
Right, dude.
then you go. Here's, and we drove up to Minneapolis. No high-speed rail available to us
Get on that
to
highway.
interconnect the upper Midwest. And I can tell you, when we crossed the river back into Wisconsin, knew immediately from the bad roads when I was in Wisconsin. And you know what else was a tell?
What's that?
Dead deer carcasses everywhere, all over the highways.
In Wisconsin or Minnesota?
I only got in as far as Minneapolis. Didn't see a lot of dead deer carcasses on the highway in this city, but all the rural areas between here and Madison, Minneapolis to Madison, deer carcasses all over the roads.
That's that time of year, man.
Well, it didn't used to be like that. Once upon a time, they picked up the deer carcasses.
I'll get there eventually.
Well, that's now Scott Walker hoisting more upon the local municipalities. That's a Scott Walker decision to not pick up, to not have the state do its job and clear the highways
But isn't the state
of deer carcasses.
responsible for the highways?
Well, they used to be, and now they've hoisted that off on local governments. You know what they also used
Local
to do?
control, right?
Yeah, you get control over cleaning up the dead deer on the highways. That sort of local control. Republicans are fine with that.
Right.
And, of course, the expense thereof. But let's not forget, Tom, when they used to, talking about the DOT, when they used to scoop up these deers, A, they didn't end up in landfills. They incinerated the deers. And B, they tested them for CWD, chronic wasting disease. This terrible disease that's crossing across the state of Wisconsin. And very little is being done by the Walker administration. Hell, they're not even testing deer to the same frequency that they used to. I don't know if you saw. Gun deer hunt way off, again, down 12%.
I did not, really.
Opening weekend, down 12%. And the weather wasn't bad. I mean, I know they'd prefer a little snow out there so you can track your deer, but can't blame the weather. It wasn't like it was frigid or something.
Right.
Hunting is falling off because people are concerned that they're eating diseased deer. And we here in the state of Wisconsin, or at least Scott Walker, is not managing chronic wasting disease. I'm not trying to change topics on this, Tom, but I'm going to throw this one out there. The political environment. This one posted on Friday. Are roadkill deer tested for chronic wasting disease? Probably not. Not the way they used to be. As well reported, I'm reading from the body of James Rowan's piece. As well reported, it is evident that Walker's DNR and Wisconsin legislative leadership have demonstrated a remarkable lack of will to combat the spread of CWD. In particular, the will to protect the state's wild deer population in any manner at odds with the business interest of the captive deer farm lobby. Rather than taking a proactive approach with respect to CWD infested deer farms or following the lead of Michigan or Illinois wildlife agencies, Wisconsin's DNR has been aptly characterized as mute, powerless observer in the face of the CWD threat. And here's the numbers, Tom. Even regulation as basic as CWD monitoring has precipitously declined compared to the more than 40,000 deer tested in 2002. 6,129 deer were tested in the 2016 hunt. Resources, meaning in quotes his sources, available.
Just over 6,000 compared to more than 40,000 15 years ago.
Yes.
Well, so does that mean that we've gotten rid of chronic wasting disease here in the state of Wisconsin? We don't need to do any testing?
No, what it probably means is those dead deer carcasses with or without chronic wasting disease, it probably means they're ending up in our local landfills. They need to be eaten by, a stray dog.
Critters that go up the food chain, eventually get to your household pets, perhaps.
Maybe.
No
wonder why Scott Walker doesn't really hunt. Goes out, takes that photo op out back. Well, today is Cyber Monday, Dom. And I noted on the website, scottwalker.com, something with that effect.
Yeah?
All his swag, all his political swag on sale. It's a 20% off deal.
Now, hurry, run, don't walk.
And he's got a hunter's cap in there with the Scott Walker on the bill. And I'm thinking it should say chronic wasting disease, open for business here. I mean, I realize we're not hunter-fisher guys, but I wouldn't want to be. If I was a hunter in the state of Wisconsin, you wouldn't find me in the woods. A, because I don't want to get shot by guys like you, and B, the deer herd has chronic wasting disease. The governor could give a damn. All he's trying to do is sell a little swag, in the holiday spirit.
Yes. How much percentage would Jesus take off?
And how much chronic wasting disease would Jesus eat in his venison? They'd heal it, of course, but, more devil's advocates. We'll be right back. Come back with us.
Roads? Where we're going, we don't need roads.
You'll get nothing and like it.
They can go suck lemons.
Here's a great shot of your uncles, your grandma. Hey, see this photo from my trip to Utah with your grandpa?
Yeah.
Beautiful lands. That's where I shot my first deer.
Can we go hunt there?
Probably not for long. Some politicians in Washington think those hunting areas aren't worth protecting.
Why not?
Well, some of them think they know better than us. And they want to sell off public lands for private development, no matter the consequences.
That's just wrong. Don't public lands belong to all of us?
Well, they do for now. I'll tell you what, those deer sure aren't going to stick around once they start drilling areas like this.
Dad, that's crazy.
It sure is. It sure is.
Speaker Paul Ryan, please stop these attacks on our national monuments. Paid for by Wisconsin Wildlife Federation.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Make sure you tune in to News Talk 1510 a.m. throughout the day for breaking news and up-to-the-minute political commentary. Monday through Friday, start your day with the Earl Ingram Show, 7 to 9 a.m. From 9 to 11, take a deep dive into Milwaukee news and Wisconsin politics on 414 Wisconsin with Brian Kelly and me, Stu Mann, the newsman. From 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman program. Then from 2 to 5, join us for the greatest radio show ever, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. Join the resistance. News Talk 1510 a.m. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on, and he gets off and he makes a speech. But, he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy. Okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that failed facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience, the only choice, Lawton and Cates.
I needed an attorney because I was injured at work. I wanted to find a reputable attorney. The results that I got with Lawton and Cates were very good. I'm very happy with the way I was treated and the end result that I got.
Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton and Cates, 282-6200. 282-6200.
Hi, I'm Anton Capella, Chief Technology Officer at Five Nines. Five Nines is more than just our name. It's the level of service you can expect. We provide 99.999% uptime. That's the highest availability and performance you can get. You have enough to worry about with your business data, web, security, and cloud services, so we'll manage your IT so you don't have to. Visit 59s.com. That's the number 5NINES.com.
Grass-fed, locally raised, 100% organic. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM, WRRD. We're also streaming live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. We're on Twitter at Devil Radio. And, of course, on the phones, toll-free, 1-844-967-2789.
Dominic, you were checking out the Cyber Monday specials on the Wankinators campaign website. Did you see that CWD camouflage special?
I am actually on scottwalker.com, and I clicked on the store Crudy, but I know you posted a screenshot from an email you received from the governor.
20% off, baby.
But I don't see anything like that on the actual Scott Walker
site. You
site.
got to be a friend of Scott Walker's to get the Cyber Monday deals right in your end mailbox.
But wouldn't you think if you click through, you're going to go to the store? And wouldn't the store also have a mention of the 20% off and, of course, that Christ died for your sins?
Well, there's no mention of Christmas.
What?
Cyber Monday, that's just a merchandising day. It's got no relevance to our Lord and Savior.
We're saying Merry Christmas again. I heard the president run on that, and we're doing it, damn it.
We are not doing that.
What?
I'm not ready to talk about it, man, but I will declare war on Christmas.
Yeah.
I'm going to declare war on Christmas. You watch. At least
made you award.
At least the false Christians that would embrace Donald Trump. And, of course, every opportunity to what? Merchandise.
As long as
Trump's got 30% off on his swag today.
What? 30?
Also, if you'll take note, Trump's swag does not mention Christmas on his own website. He's the one that claimed it's all about Christmas.
Yeah.
Merchandising!
That's where the real money is made.
Hey, Dom, did you hear the deplorable company that Scotty Wanker's going to be keeping for Christmas this year?
Oh, you brought it up. He's going somewhere warm.
The Student Action Summit in West Palm Beach, Florida.
Oh, that sounds like a party.
December 19th through 22nd. And we've got a cavalcade of confirmed conservative speakers. Everyone from Donald Trump Jr. to Joe Walsh, Jesse Waters, Steve Bannon, Brian Kilmeade. Hey, there's Nazi sympathizer Sebastian Gorka.
Anthony Scaramucci.
The Mooch.
It's worth the plane ticket alone.
You got Ben Shapiro. You got Tommy Lahren. James O'Keefe, one of the finest fictional journalists of all time. And the only, if I know, Dom, the only elected leader confirmed on the speaker's platform, the Wankinator, is going to be at West Palm Beach for Christmas, Dom.
So a bunch of right-wing talking heads and one elected official, and that's Governor Walker.
Yes, our friends at One Wisconsin Now, specifically Scott Ross, pointed this out. Also an email form to me. Make your reservations, Dom. 3,000 applications received to date. You better get yours in. They might sell out. I bet you they have discounted Cyber Monday tickets on this event as well. Come back with us. Our good friend Scott Ross, One Wisconsin Now. And don't call it a comeback. It ain't Christmas. There's no Christmas involved in this Republican Party. I can prove it. Come back with us.
Nanny May Blue number 9. Mary had a little lamb.
We're not just doing this for money. We're doing it for a load of money.
Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with Bill Carroll, president of Teamsters Local 344. Bill, why are you union? Teamster strong.
Well, Crudy, our strength comes from our membership. The Teamsters are North America's strongest labor union with 1.4 million members.
Bill, what does the Teamsters do for the next generation?
The same thing that the Teamsters have done for the last 100 years. assisting groups of workers in negotiating improvements in their wages, hours, and working conditions.
Where do people go if they want to know more about the Teamsters, more about joining the union?
There's 3 easy options. They can call Local 344 at 414-258-4545. They can contact us through our website. That's local344.org. Local, the number is 344.org, or they can contact us through the Local 344 Facebook page.
Be union strong. Join Teamsters 344. Be like Crudy. Be like News Talk 1510 AM. Stand with the unions. Join the Teamsters. Local344.org.
The Stephanie Miller Show is on twice daily, 6 to 9 p.m. and midnight to 3 a.m. You can stream The Stephanie Miller Show and all of our fine programming on newstalk1510am.com.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Grass-fed, locally raised.
Tom Perez, chairman of the Democratic National Committee.
Hey, great to be with you. And since I spoke last, I went to my first game at Camp Randall. So
all right.
I was very excited.
Well, I feel quite confident that was a victory as my team's undefeated, Tom.
Hey, I agree. Our team, you should say. My daughter's there at Madison.
Oh, that's right.
It was a great day.
Happy
great
Badgers.
Day.
The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. Good afternoon. It's 2:32 for 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly with some headlines for you. Questions are not being answered about the sudden resignation of Milwaukee Public Schools Chief Financial Officer. Also under Scott Walker, Wisconsin has lost its reputation as a leader in environmental protections. Wisconsin lawmakers from both parties are renewing a call to keep juvenile inmates closer to home. The city of Milwaukee has been named America's best city to find love. Carol Burnett is coming to the Riverside Theater. And the Packers lost to the Steelers yesterday, a heartbreaking fashion, 31-28. Tonight, mostly clear, lows in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, highs in the low 50s. Currently, it is 48 degrees in Milwaukee and 51 in Waukesha. For 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly.
The Devil's Advocates, where there's always time for Scott Walker bashing. Hashtag Walker bashing.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. It is Cyber Monday. Not that that means much to me, Dom. I have canceled Christmas. Let's welcome back a good friend. He's Scott Ross, One Wisconsin Now Executive Director. Scott, welcome back, man.
Hey, so it's Cyber Monday. Is that why you were sending me all those texts, Crudy?
That was just booty calling.
Any day is a good day to booty call you, Scott. Hey, buddy, let's talk about the real news of the day. Let's talk about where Scotty Wanker's going to spend his Christmas holidays, apparently in West Palm Beach at the Student Action Summit, a Turning Point USA event. Who's on the guest list with this fine fine elected governor.
It is a who's who of some of America's most notorious Trumpites. You've got some Nazis, you've got some white nationalists, you've got defenders of the pedophile Roy Moore, and even former Congressman Joe Walsh. So it is a luminary of some of the most vile, really anti-American speakers from the right wing. I mean, I would encourage your readers to go to our website, onewisconsinnow.org, and click on the press release so they can see the venom and bile that surrounds Scott Walker in the speaking program for this right-wing event.
Well, just predicated on the confirmed speakers, I'd say they're all dreaming of a white Christmas, Scott.
Very good. Very good. Yeah, no, I mean, it's when the closest thing to a normal human being on the dais is Anthony the Mooch Scaramucci, you are in rarefied air there.
Now, why Scott Walker? I mean, he's the only elected official that's identified as a confirmed speaker. I have my thoughts, but how do you think Scott Walker fits in with this other cavalcade of deplorables, primarily Fox News contributors and, the president's son? But how do you think Scott Walker puts his little piece of the puzzle in with this group?
Well, I'd say a couple things about Scott Walker's little piece. I would say, first of all, that it's because Scott Walker, continues, what he wants to do, which is one day he wants to be president. And he thinks that he has to try and lock up this right-wing youth brigade that is, that's hosting the event. The second thing is, and I think this is more, sort of insulting for people back here in Wisconsin, but he actually thinks that he has to show his Trump bona fides by sitting on stage with these other maniacs and lunatics, and that's the only way he can get his base here in the state of Wisconsin to vote for him, and I think that's rather insulting. But Scott Walker is a career politician. He'll do and say anything to win an election. And as we have said, with a lineup like this one, we only ask whether or not Scott Walker will be delivering his remarks under the glare of a spotlight or the glow of a tiki torch.
Well said. Scott, I got to ask you, do you think Walker runs towards Trump with open arms, or does Walker hide from Trump? I mean, this has got to be, for a man that thinks about politics morning, noon, and night, his next election, the only thing he cares about, this has got to be a choice keeping the man up at night, don't you think, Scott?
I don't think it is for Walker, because Walker believes that this is a base election, and I think that off-year elections are base turnout elections, and he thinks that his base has to be mollified by him showing complete and total fealty to Donald Trump. And we saw this during the primary. I mean, do not forget that Walker had to be dragged kicking and screaming by the members of his party and old Charlie Sykes to actually come out and endorse Ted Cruz in that Wisconsin presidential primary back in April of 2016. He was the literal last one to endorse Ted Cruz. And then after the primary and after, things went Trump's way, he was there with Trump every single step of the way. And so, no, he's going to be lockstep with Trump. And that is to his detriment. But again, he thinks it's a base election. I think he's right about that. He's going to try and turn out his base by standing strong with Donald Trump. And again, the impact of what this would do, I mean, he's supporting Trump's tax plan, which would give, the Trump family $1 billion, and it would cut, things like the mortgage interest or the property tax deduction that Wisconsin taxpayers enjoy. It would cut the, interest on student loan payment tax deduction that 300,000 in Wisconsin enjoy. It would hand over huge tax breaks to the rich and corporations while raising taxes on people paying between $75,000 and $30,000 a year. And so, Walker is all in on this. Walker is all aboard the Trump train.
You're listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD. We're speaking with our pal Scott Ross, Executive Director over at One Wisconsin Now. Scott, looking at this lineup, heading out to the Student Action Summit, including our governor, I can see how you can be critical. You've mentioned in your presser, you refer to this as a group of Nazis and nationalists, extremists, supporters of pedophile Roy Moore. Hard to disagree with some of those statements, Scott, but do you think this sampling of conservatives is emblematic, is symbolic, is a good sample of the rest of the Republicans here in this country?
Unfortunately, these are the people who are getting the attention. These are the draws for the base. And right now, they're the ones who are holding the White House. And so, that's where the party is right now. And guys like Charlie Sykes and Jim Steineke and some of these others can pretend that this is just a new evolution, a new and shocking one-time turn of events for the Republican Party. But, the much of the stuff that these guys are saying is the same stuff that they've been saying in one form, shape, or another for the last 20 years. Certainly 20 years I've been in Wisconsin. Governor Walker has always been a divisive figure. He has spent his career on, essentially saying that African Americans need to be in prison for as long as humanly possible. And that is the way that he built his bona fides. He has been a completely racially polarized guy, and so it's no wonder that the racists that are running this TPA, the Student Action Summit, Turning Point USA, have asked Scott Walker to come and do this, and he will not. Walker's not the first one to even not the first Walker to address TPA. I mean, his kid Alex was at spoke to them prior, so he was apparently warming up the seat for his old man.
Scott, do you ever think we get to a point, or Republicans and independents, whoever would pay attention to these kinds of things, will get to a point and say, hey, the people on that stage, the people affiliated with this Student Action Summit, they're a little too extreme. Do you think there's going to be any pushback, any blowback from moderate Republicans to events like this?
I mean, I think not until the Democrats are putting up consistently people that the public can get behind, because you can only say someone's lousy so many times. If you're not putting up candidates that people want to support, you can't expect people are going to rally to your side. And that's the biggest challenge that the Democrats have. I mean, they are, in so many ways, the Democratic Party is a retirement community. We see that at the congressional level with 3 near octogenarians, running the Democrats in the House of Representatives. Chuck Schumer in his mid-60s is the young guy. Until the Democratic Party starts thinking about tomorrow, starts respecting, the 120 million post-baby boomer voters in the United States, they're going to continue to run a close second to the Republicans because, again, you're not going to beat Scott Walker, and you're not going to beat these Republicans by just completely continuing to say how they're going to make the country worse. You're going to beat them by showing how you'll make the country better. We need young, enthusiastic, reflective of the population Democrats to come up, to be given the opportunity to go and take the cheese and to run for office all over the state and all over the country.
Well, Scott, let's talk about the Democrats here in the state of Wisconsin. We've got a blossoming field of Democrats that want a piece of the champ, which at this point is Scott Walker. I think we're up to 11 declared candidates, like 7 of them have some form of viability. Scott, I know you've expressed some concern that after the grueling primary process that doesn't wind up until August 14th, I believe, then we got a quick turnaround to a general election. Scott Walker will be the incumbent. Scott, how do you think these Democrats first differentiate themselves, but then come together behind the eventual nominee, sir?
Well, I think that's a critically important thing. Now, I will tell you that, besides having some experience writing concession speeches, I was working for one of the candidates back in 2002, the last time we had a really contested Democratic primary for governor. There were 4 candidates in the race. 3 ended up being on the ballot on Election Day. And the day after the primary, all the candidates got together to do a unity event, and Democrats went on to defeat an incumbent Republican governor a couple months later. That's what has to happen in this race. I think that an absolute question that should be asked of every single Democrat running for office for this governorship: will you pledge 100% to support, endorse, and help elect whoever wins the primary on the Democratic side? And if the answer is anything but absolutely yes, then that person doesn't deserve your vote, in my opinion.
Well, we'll have one of those spry young candidates. We got Tony Evers along in the next hour.
Oh, nice. Good.
Scott, they don't all fit the youthful category that you seem to imply is important for the Democrats to bring some lifeblood back to this party. Scott, we got some elder statesmen and women in this growing field of Democrats. How do you think, and I'm being very sincere about this, I've told most of these candidates, hey, I'm staying out of it. I'm not going to put my thumb on the scale. I'm not going to help the audience sort it out. But Scott, at some point, don't we have to help the audience sort it out? Don't we kind of have to push our favorites to the top, or at least out front and center? How do we do this?
Well, I think this is the thing. Nobody's paying me to get involved in the Democratic primary.
You know what? No one's paying us either.
And so that's why I have enough responsibilities, dealing with what's on my plate. And that's not a cop-out. Like, I think there are positives to a whole bunch of the candidates running for governor on the Democratic side. That is for sure. I could say nice things about all of them. I think that all of them would be an incredible improvement over the disaster career politician we have currently in the governor's mansion.
But Scott, we don't want to beat the stuffings out of each other. There are perhaps weaknesses, chinks in the armor of these individual candidates that if they don't come to light during the primary are certainly going to come to light during the general election. Now, if you're, someone trying to win this nomination, how do you ignore the other guy's weakness? How do you not, do what you got to do to win the election, Scott?
Well, Lord knows that I was not put on this earth to criticize. What I would say is that's why you have a robust primary. And that's why if you are somebody out there watching, if you're a Democratic voter or an independent voter who may vote in this primary, I don't think you can have a pants pee just because some of the candidates start throwing a couple elbows. As long as what happens in the primary that I was involved in, where everybody fought hard, everybody fought tirelessly, we weren't friends every single day, but everyone played by the rules and everybody played fair, and at the end everybody came together. I think that you could not have a better primary, and I think you're going to have a drag-out fight for this, because Democrats absolutely have to nominate the best candidate who can beat the most gifted politician of the last 25 years if the Republicans have opted out.
Scott, let me ask you this, though. Open primaries, if there's nobody running against Scott Walker, Republicans could step in, and knowing that you have this many people, do you think that they could impact and perhaps
weigh in for a weaker candidate, perhaps?
Any concern about that?
Say this. You are positing the David Clark, how he got elected all those times.
Right.
But do not forget that Diane Hendricks and Richard Uihlein are having a proxy war between Kevin Nicholson and Leah Vukmir. So that primary will be on the ballot at the same time. So my guess is that you will have a lot of Republicans who want to weigh in on that battle more than they care about coming in and not knowing exactly who the hell to vote for to try and affect the outcome of the Democratic primary election.
Scott, I'm not going to start any whisper campaigns, but I've heard a few whispers, a few rumors about this candidate or that candidate, and I suspect if I'm hearing them, op research people are hearing those whispers as well. When do you think the proper time to expose the dirt on any of these respective candidates? Shouldn't this all get out there front and center? Shouldn't some of these candidates, in fact, want to expose their dirty laundry, put their own spin on it, and move beyond that point? Or do you sit back and pray no one notices XYZ that you did in college?
Well, I would say this. I think that, the biggest vulnerability that they all have, has already been exposed, that being that I'm taller than all of them. But I think that's going to, the stuff is going to come out. People have things. I'm sure the different campaigns are investing at least a little bit in looking at, their opponents. I personally, in a primary this big, I don't see why you would go after one of your opponents necessarily, only because, unless somebody emerges as the clear front runner, right? Somebody is way up there, what does knocking your opponent do for you, per se? Who benefits? Say candidate X, see everybody's, say you have a bunch of candidates who are anywhere between 15 to 20%, right? But nobody's really breaking free. If you're a 15% person and you knock another 15% person or even a 20% person, how does that necessarily mean that you'll benefit from that? And I think that's where it is. I think only if you are basically trying to either take down somebody who has been established as the clear front runner, or you're trying to make it seem as though you're going to be the toughest one to take on Walker. Probably that hard contrast, as they call negative campaigning in my world, you probably aren't going to go down that road. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, Scott. You know, you've played this game a few more times than perhaps Dom or
again, I've written a hell of a lot of concession speeches. I know 18 different ways to say we didn't win tonight.
Scott, my most sincerest wish in this entire world is not for world peace. It's for a Democratic state house in the state of Wisconsin next year. And I would desperately like to see that happen. Scott, you talk about playing fair and playing by the rules. Well, whose rules? Because the old rules got thrown out by the Wisconsin Supreme Court. And Scott Walker wasn't following those rules, let's call them laws for sake of argument, the last time through or the time before that. Scott, when you talk about playing by the rules, do you think that a Democrat that doesn't embrace the campaign finance laws here in the state of Wisconsin, that doesn't embrace third-party campaigning, do you think they put themselves at a disadvantage against a man who clearly will?
Well, I think this. I think there are different rules for a primary amongst family friends and for trying to take down the opposition, which is Scott Walker. And I think there's two different rule books for that, because you would say stuff about Scott Walker you'd never say about your friend who's a fellow Democrat. But what I will say is this: I think that if you try and fight this with one hand tied behind your back or one head up your ass, you're not going to win.
Scott, final question. We're out of time, man. But what about the issues? Like Matt Flynn's already grabbed Dom's vote with legalized marijuana, or at least he's in first place. Yeah. Are there issues these people can capture and say, I stake it out first, therefore it's my issue?
Here's what I'd say. The last 25 years, the Democratic message, which has been dictated from high up and above in Washington, D.C., has been Social Security, Medicare, and my employer-provided pension is under assault. For those voters of us under 50, that has no resonance in any way, shape, or form. There needs to be a Democratic message that resonates with people who are under the age of 50. It starts with student loan debt. It starts with letting people buy into the state pension system. It starts with all those issues that the unique economics faced by the 120 million post-baby boomers face. That needs to be front and center for the Democratic Party if they want to move forward as the party of the future.
Scott Ross, Executive Director, One Wisconsin Now, a fellow millennial. Thank you so much, Scott, for joining us here on the show today.
You guys be good.
Thanks, Scott.
Thank you. No promises. Come back with us. Maybe time for a little more Winker bashing. Well, just a skosh.
The positive conservative message can rise to the top of the field.
My good friend, Governor Scott Walker.
Just because he says it doesn't make it true.
We're going to be friends for a long, long period of time. Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy. Okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know,
I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
You've been taking the right actions, resisting the GOP's destruction of our state and country. You've marched, written letters, and listened to those busy signals day after day. Countless times you've hashtagged and frowny-faced articles on social media. You're not alone, but it's time to take the next steps. All politics are local. Support, vote, and elect progressive candidates to office with your Democratic Party. Your ideas and energy are what the party is missing. This ad sponsored by the Walworth County Dems, walworthdems.org.
Hey, it's your lovable furry host, Brian Kelly. we have a new show, 414 Wisconsin. Weekdays 9 to 11, right after the Earl Ingram Show. Join me and Stu Man the Newsman as we talk about Milwaukee news, Wisconsin politics with great guests. We are going to have a fun time. 414 Wisconsin, weekday mornings 9 to 11 on News Talk 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Did you ever eat a perfect peach? Flavorful and succulent, juice dripping from your mouth. That's what you can expect every time you shop at Pete's Fruit Market. A perfect peach or any other fresh produce to satisfy your taste buds. Try Pete's brand new, clean, bottled, full-service grocery store on Martin Luther King and North Avenue. Daily specials, organic fruits and vegetables, and always a perfect peach. Go to Pete's Fruit Market in Bronzeville. Tell them the Devil's Advocate sent you.
The Devil's Advocates, because freedom.
And we're back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show, live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD. Streaming live on YouTube, on Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and on the phones toll-free nationwide, 844-967-2789.
Thank you, Scott Ross. Dom, I want to get this topic out here. We're just going to speak about it briefly. Then I'm going to declare war on Christmas and Donald Trump and Scott Walker. But anyways, the question, Data Wonk, Bruce Thompson at urbanmilwaukee.com, is Waukesha County becoming less red? Perhaps not, but legislative districts straddling its borders are changing.
Ooh, interesting.
I'm going to read just a brief synopsis here, Dom. For years, Waukesha County has been known as the place that the hopes of Democratic candidates go to die. If the county were detached from Wisconsin to join Texas, for instance, Wisconsin would become a safely blue state. This was underlined some years ago when the Waukesha County clerk messed up. Kathy Nicholas messed up in submitting her county's vote count. For a brief time, the liberal candidate for the Supreme Court was wrongly believed the winner. Well, Dom, here's the encouraging part. I jump forward in the body of the piece. However, the assembly districts listed at the next graph are either wholly or partially in Waukesha County. The bars compare the share of the districts, blah, 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 Clinton versus Obama votes. The results for these three districts stand in sharp contrast to Wisconsin's statewide results, in which Trump outperformed Mitt Romney, allowing him to barely carry the state. The chart shows the current representatives, all Republicans, only one, the 14th, had a Democratic opponent in the 2016 election. We're talking about the 13th, 14th, and 15th. They collectively make up the 5th senatorial district. Now, you might note that's Leah Vukmir territory currently, Dom. But she pulled up stakes, perhaps out of fear. The shift in this district's vote is substantial. In 2016, Clinton won 49.5% of the two-candidate vote in that district, compared to 43.3% for Obama 4 years earlier. In other words, there is a Senate district, District 5, in play. It includes parts of Waukesha County. And what do you know, man? That's exactly where WRD's transmitter is located. We'd like to help in that little race. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. We declare war on Christmas.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I'm not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Dom and Crute special, 608-848-9000, or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward, it's the right way to clean.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009, or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
We've got Jesse Pica-Holtz in studio with Solidarity Realty. Jesse, why on earth are you advertising in the Milwaukee area when you help buy and sell homes in Dane County?
Simple. Since Walker's policies have taken hold 7 years ago, most new job growth in Wisconsin has happened here in Dane County because of its progressive policies. And plenty of folks who commute to or from Madison already know that many rentals here are more expensive than a fixed mortgage.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Dane County, call Solidarity Realty or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee.
They call her Pocahontas. Who's running the place? I'm Michael Toscano. The setting, the White House. The guests, Navajo Native American veterans known as Code Talkers for their special skills. The speaker, President Trump.
It was the most in one day ever.
And the speaker, President Trump.
You were here long before any of us were here. Although we have a representative in Congress who they say was here a long time ago. They call her Pocahontas. But you know what? I like you.
And then, a long, awkward silence. Senator Elizabeth Warren, to whom Trump was referring, said, "It is deeply unfortunate that the President of the United States cannot even make it through a ceremony honoring these heroes without having to throw out a racial slur." A federal judge was about to hear arguments over who should temporarily run the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, Trump Budget Director Mick Mulvaney, who opposes its work, or Leandra English, picked by the outgoing director. They both showed up for work this morning, and Jessica Schneider tells us English filed a restraining order against Mulvaney to be heard by new Trump appointee Thomas Kelly.
The question is, will he grant that temporary restraining order, which would make English the acting director, or will he say President Trump is right in this and that Mick Mulvaney should assume the temporary position?
Senate Republican leaders working overtime to try to round up enough GOP votes to pass the tax cut bill, and correspondent Phil Mattingly says the focus is now on John McCain.
Republican leaders have made very sure this went through the committee process. It went through a 4-day markup. But I'm told that Senator McCain is not convinced that that was the best way to go, isn't necessarily pleased with the final product at this moment. And because of that, a lot of Republicans are unsettled by the idea that this might come down to him. They want to lock up everybody else to ensure that Senator McCain isn't the final vote, just in case he doesn't come around.
More than 100,000 people ordered to leave the island of Bali as a volcano erupts, but the airport's closed. I'm Michael Toscano.
Hi, I'm Scott Tannen, founder of Boll & Branch. I've been telling you about our sheets for years, how they're the softest, most comfortable sheets you'll ever sleep on, that these are the sheets 3 U.S. presidents sleep on, that Boll & Branch cuts out the middleman so you get $1,000 sheets starting at just a couple $100. Well, our prices are always great. Today only, they're even better. Our once-a-year Cyber Monday sale is going on right now. That means we're offering 25% off everything we sell. This is our biggest sale of the year, and it's today only. 25% off our sheets, our towels, our blankets, everything, plus free shipping. There's never been a better time to give us a try, for yourself or as a gift. All of our products come beautifully packaged and tied with a bow. But hurry, today is the only day to save 25% off on everything at bollandbranch.com. That's spelled B-O-L-L and branch.com, and save 25%. Again, 25% off right now at BOLL and branch.com. That's bollandbranch.com.
Well, there was a lot of shopping the other day for Black Friday, and Joe Ramsey reports there was also a record number of background checks for gun sales.
It was the most in one day ever. Over 200,000 requests for instant gun background checks, an almost 10% increase from last Black Friday. They are required at federally licensed firearm shops, but background checks don't actually indicate the number of guns sold because a buyer can purchase multiple guns after just one check. There could be fear from consumers about tougher future gun laws. Attorney General Jeff Sessions recently announcing holding a review of the FBI database after the Air Force failed to report the criminal history of the gunman who killed more than 24 people at a Texas church. Joe Ramsey, Washington.
The Supreme Court this morning rejected an appeal from some Maryland gun owners who were trying to challenge the state's assault weapons ban. The justice is leaving in place a federal appeals court ruling upholding the Maryland law banning sales of a range of semi-automatic weapons and large-capacity magazines. The banned guns include those used in the massacres at a Texas church and Las Vegas. I'm Michael Toscano.
Hiring is important, but finding the right people can be a real challenge. That's why ZipRecruiter is obsessed with finding you qualified candidates fast. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds candidates with the right experience, then alerts the most qualified ones to apply for your job as soon as you post it. You can even add screening questions to your job post, narrowing your focus to only relevant applicants, saving you time. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within just one day. The right candidates are out there. This is how you find them. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Businesses of all sizes trust ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. We're so confident that ZipRecruiter will get you better results than anywhere else. We'll let you try it free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/talk. That's ZipRecruiter.com/talk. ZipRecruiter.com/.
Good afternoon. It's 3:05 for 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. Questions are not being answered about the sudden resignation of Milwaukee Public Schools Chief Financial Officer. 6 months after the departure of Gerald J. Pace, the MPS administration still has not explained the circumstances surrounding his quick exit. Even the school board seems to be in the dark. At least 2 members of the board say the administration has not adequately answered questions regarding Pace, who was suspended without pay just days before he resigned. Tonight, mostly clear, lows in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, highs in the low 50s. And Wednesday, sunshine, highs in the mid-40s. Currently, it is 48 degrees in Milwaukee and 51 in Waukesha. For 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, my name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dom, it's nearly time to declare war on Christmas, but I'm not quite ready.
Oh, okay, man.
Let's finish some thoughts from hour one. First and foremost, we should let people know we got Tony Evers. He's a Dem running for governor here in the state of Wisconsin. He'll be joining us at 3:30 today, and it's a growing field, Dom, but momentarily, let's get back to this Waukesha County becoming less red. Now, I've invested a fair amount of my life's resources in making sure that Waukesha County goes just a little less red.
Just a little less.
Yeah, I've got me a little radio station that transmits from near the heart of Waukesha, Tom. Don't visit. It's not a show place.
It's a fine piece of property with 3 nice antennas on it.
And a big-ass dish.
And a big
shiny new big-ass dish.
Right,
Bought that this summer. But what's the point? Waukesha County. Here's something you may not know. Biggest Dem counties in the state of Wisconsin, according to voter turnout. Well, Milwaukee County, of course. And then Dane County, where I live. And number 3 in the state of Wisconsin, Waukesha. Number 3 hotbed for Democrats in the state. Now, you could say, well, okay, roughly a third of Waukesha residents are Democrats. Well, like 33%, let's call it, of the marketplace. So as a business model, not a bad idea to try and service our friends, the Democrats in Waukesha County.
Well, as a percentage, just one thing, but numerically, that's still a big chunk. It's a big population there.
It is, but of course not enough to win any elections unless you look real closely, and that's what I was trying to point out. Data wonk, Bruce Thompson at the urbanmilwaukee.com. There is a glimmer of hope, and it is right there on the edge of the Waukesha burbs in the city, Dom, and specifically Assembly Districts 13, 14, 15. And they have changed dramatically in the last few elective cycles. Going back to 2012, Tom, and these cycles saw Barack Obama winning, but not winning as big as Hillary Clinton won last year. And that is not the case in many places. Look at Assembly District 13. That's Rob Hutton's district currently, Dom. Over the 4 years, that district saw about a 7% change in Democratic votes.
An increase.
Clinton over Obama. Some would say not as strong a candidate, but the districts, they're turning blue. Dale Kooyenga, he was the first one to jump out there and say, I'm running for Leah Bookmer's vacated Senate seat, the 5th district seat. Well, Dale Kooyenga, if you notice Kooyenga's Assembly District and Chris Rockwood, a good Dem has declared for that race, the Assembly District 14. Well, Dale Kooyenga's district has changed almost 9% from red to blue. Now, that's the Brookfield area currently. And then you take those 3 districts, Assembly District 13, Rob Hutton's district, Dale Kooyenga's district 14, and Joe Sanfilippo's district, which has shifted modestly from red to blue, just a 1% shift in Sanfilippo's district. But those 3 districts cumulatively make up the 5th Senate district. Leah Bookmer, she crushed it last time. But she's gone. And the district has changed rapidly just in the last 4 years. This is a district that Hillary Clinton took 49.5% of the vote in the 2-candidate race.
Compared with 43.3% for Obama. So again, looking at the trend, it's increasing.
Well, not only is it increasing, Dom, one could hardly call that a wave election. I mean, Hillary Clinton lost the state of Wisconsin, right? Donald Trump surprisingly won in what was a red wave election. And yet Leah Bookmer's district, Senate District 5, still went Democrat 49.5% of the vote. It wouldn't take much. Let's say 2 years of Trump.
We're only 1 year in.
Before that district could be, ripe for the pickings, let's say for a good Dem to go and win a race, Dom, and to start changing the complexion. And the failure to field Democrats in so many of these races, I mean, someone's going off to slaughter. Someone's got to go lose to Jim Sensenbrenner, right?
Hell no, Sensenbrenner's losing this year.
Well, perhaps, but I doubt it. That might be beyond a wave. Some of these races are beyond a wave. Some of these races are just gerrymandered too snugly. You're never going to knock an incumbent out. But the failure to run a candidate,
well, you're guaranteed not to
do
that. You're guaranteed to lose if you don't run a candidate.
Well, not only do you waste the opportunity to even have a chance. I mean, hell, actuarial tables, bacon.
Send them some bacon.
I mean, Sensenbrenner's not going to live to be 100, folks. So, you never know. You catch an actuarial break. Maybe Sensenbrenner gets caught with his pants down last minute. Who knows? But if you don't have a candidate up running in these races, Dom, you can never, ever win.
It's more than that, though. It's also getting people used to the process, getting candidates used to getting bruised, getting people some calluses. I mean, if you've never run and you're going to run up against someone like Sensenbrenner, or you run up against an incumbent who's probably going to win, well, at least you learn the process. You learn, you hone your skills, you build a bench. It's more, you have to do more, make more effort than running nobody.
Waukesha is not unique, and back to the Bruce Thompson piece, Waukesha is not unique in the number of candidates with no opponent. In fact, almost half of the representatives, 49 out of 99, enjoyed that fortunate position. Half of the assembly districts in Wisconsin were not contested last year. And contrary to the impression that the races in Waukesha County may give, more Democrats than Republicans were unopposed statewide. Overall, 28 of 35 Democrats in the Assembly ran unopposed, compared to 21 of 64 Republicans. While this discrepancy may seem favorable to Democrats, is a byproduct of Republican gerrymandering, in which the strategy is to pack as many Democratic voters into as few districts as possible. But Dom, every so often, the demographics start to change, and the color on the map gets a little bluer. And maybe if the Democrats put a strong candidate out there, they might win a seat back. And it starts with one. And in the process, maybe you elect one of the many, many Dems on the top of the ticket.
One of the many, 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 many Dems.
Well, failure to field candidates, failure to compete on half the battlegrounds in the state of Wisconsin gives little or no incentive for Democratic voters to come out and vote top of the ticket. You want gubernatorial votes, you need candidates all up and down the ticket. You need
a local candidate to drive turnout in their local district in order to what? In order to bring out more voters for the top of the ticket.
All the races. You can't win without candidates, not up or down the ticket. Dom, one other thought here quickly. Tell you what, let's consider taking a phone caller before we run out of time in this segment. 844-967-2789. Be like Steve from Waukesha and join us on the phone. Steve, welcome. What's your thought?
Well, thank you. Yes, we have a great candidate here running against Sensenbrenner now. Tom, and I don't know how to pronounce his last name.
Palewitz.
No, it's Paul Chevich or Paul Zuvich or something like that. Palzewicz, something like that, very close to that. He's a businessman. He's sharp. He answers questions concisely and intelligently, and he's just a great guy. One other thing I'd like to say, earlier you were talking about how the Walker administration has done in environmental issues all over the state. And now there's a new bill on non-federal wetlands that is horrible. It's being fast-tracked through the legislature. And it ends protections for non-federal wetlands. And wetlands are one of our finest products here in Wisconsin.
They used to be anyways, right? I mean, Scott Walker is turning our state into a corporate toilet. In my understanding, the Foxconn, you talk about the Foxconn and the rollback of the environmental protections on behalf of this foreign corporation. They weren't the ones seeking the rollback of the environmental protections. That was a domestic act of terrorism by the Scott Walker administration, sir.
Absolutely. I mean, to try to change the course of mighty rivers is a just folly. It's absolute folly, because you ruin the habitat of thousands of living things in that river, and it's just, I don't know. There are so many protections that were lost with Foxconn. But this bill now, and I can't remember the name of it, it's an assembly bill. There was an assemblyman talking on your radio station over the weekend about this. And I think people should call in their assembly members. And I also sent the same email to Kapenga. He's the senator here. And but I think people should rise up, because this is going to be just one horrible thing. It is an add-on. And what it does is it's the same provision that they did for Foxconn, but it's all over the state for non-federal wetlands. It just destroys protections for them.
Well, if you do it for one, Steve, you got to do it for everybody. Don't you like how they get that in there?
Well, and we appreciate the call, Steve. Thank you. I hope things are getting bluer out there in Waukesha County. But understand, Dom, again, this did not stem from the Foxconn deal. Foxconn didn't request the environmental rollbacks.
That was offered.
This further toiletification of the state of Wisconsin by Scott Walker, that was done of his own volition, or, because somebody paid him for what they really wanted.
That's probably more likely.
He signed a bill into law today, almost exclusively for the benefit of Diane Hendricks, my bad. The widow Hendricks, improved her house dramatically, didn't want to let the assessor in. Well, he created laws, give her a little extra protection.
Oh, good.
Should be held accountable to the same rules of the road as the rest of us. More divide and conquer. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Tony Evers along soon. You could be next, though. 844-967-2789.
I love being governor.
I will do anything it takes to win.
Hey.
Even if it means lying or physically hurting someone.
Hey, easy. Put that down.
Or branding myself with a coat hanger.
All right.
In the shape of a V for victory.
They're winners. Winners get to do what they want.
We are the People for People Corporation. We are a registered 501c3, totally legit. What do? We take your uncapped, dark money, tax-deductible donations, private or corporate, always anonymous, and we turn it into free speech. Educate Wisconsin through advertising, which may or may not be in coordination with the candidate. Isn't that illegal? It should be, but it's not under Wisconsin law, thanks Governor Scott Walker. Politicians in Wisconsin are beholden to the millionaire and billionaire sugar daddy and sugar mamas that finance their campaigns. Time to make them beholden to we the people for People Corporation. Give your tax-deductible donation to the real patriots, the People for People Corporation, P4PPC.org, P4PPC.org.
Going through divorce is a very emotional time in someone's life, and when I went through my first divorce, I really needed someone to help me through the legal aspects of what my rights were. That's why I got in contact with Lawton & Cates.
The attorneys at Lawton & Cates. It's who you turn to for legal advice. 282-6200 or lawtoncates.com.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience. The only choice, Lawton & Cates.
I'm State Representative Jocasta Zamaripa.
And I'm Joel Clayfish.
Listen to us on the Joel and Jocasta Show, Saturdays at 3 p.m.
She's a Latina woman from the inner city of Milwaukee, and I'm a white guy from the suburbs. Diversity in the white guy. You are not going to believe what you hear on this show. I'm telling you, you're going to have to listen. News Talk, 1510 a.m., WRRD.
Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
If you're like a lot of companies, you know you need IT, but you aren't sure where to start. That's where Five Nines comes in. Hi, I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO. For almost 15 years, Five Nines has been providing IT solutions to companies just like yours. We'll show you the solutions that are right for your business and give you the roadmap to success in the future. Find us at 5nines.com. That's the number 5, NINES.com.
Hi, I'm Crudy. I'm here with Bill Carroll, president of Teamsters Local 344. Bill, why are you union? Teamster strong.
Well, Crudy, our strength comes from our membership. The Teamsters are North America's strongest labor union with 1.4 million members.
Bill, what does the Teamsters do for the next generation?
The same thing that the Teamsters have done for the last 100 years. Assisting groups of workers in negotiating improvements in their wages, hours, and working conditions.
Where do people go if they want to know more about the Teamsters, more about joining the union?
There's 3 easy options. They can call Local 344 at 414-258-4545. They can contact us through our website. That's local344.org. Local, the number is 344.org. Or they can contact us through the Local 344 Facebook page.
Be union strong. Join Teamsters 344. Be like Crudy. Be like News Talk 1510 a.m. Stand with the unions. Join the Teamsters. Local344.org.
My name is Lola Silvestri, and I'm going to be 95 this year. I was very independent. I fell, and I had to have Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
We are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD. Streaming live on YouTube, Facebook, on Twitter at Devil Radio, and on the phones 844-967-2789.
Dem gubernatorial candidate Tony Evers is next. You could join us right now, 844-967-2789. But Dom wanted to jump into this conversation about the Democratic field for governor in Wisconsin is the most crowded in a generation.
Jason Stein from the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel. The slate of Democratic candidates for governor in Wisconsin represents the most crowded statewide primary in at least a generation, upending traditional ideas of what it takes to win the nomination. 7 candidates can make at least some case that they could win the August 2018 primary, with several additional lower-tier candidates also running and more potential contenders mulling their options. Bill Cross, who worked his first Wisconsin congressional campaign in 1952, said he doesn't recall anything like this Democratic primary in a top-tier statewide race. This is unique for Wisconsin. This is unprecedented, said Krause, who ran the 1978 campaign of GOP Governor Lee Sherman Dreyfuss. And, of course, anything unprecedented is also unpredictable. Many of these Democratic challengers to Governor Scott Walker could drop out in the coming months as they struggle to raise money and attract attention from interest groups and voters. But with such a fragmented field, a Democrat might be able to win the nomination next year with only a narrow coalition and a relatively modest number of votes. That might encourage even some lackluster candidates to soldier on when they would drop out in any normal year. You certainly have the possibility of winning this one with a solid but small base of support, said Charles Franklin, who conducts the Marquette University Law School poll. The large number of candidates reflects several factors, from the lack of a single heavyweight candidate to Democratic enthusiasm for opposing Walker and President Donald Trump. It bears some resemblance to the crowded GOP presidential primary that produced Trump's nomination last year. 16 Democrats have registered to run in the Wisconsin primary, and a number of them have at least some political experience or access to the kind of money needed to share their message with the voters. The field of Democrats running for governor now includes a school superintendent, Tony Evers. He'll be our guest coming up at the bottom of the hour. Milwaukee businessman Andy Gronick, State Rep Dana Wachs, Senator Kathleen Weinhaut, professional firefighters of Wisconsin President Malin Mitchell, and former State Democratic Party Matthew Flynn and political activist Mike McCabe. Other potential candidates include former State Rep Kelda Helen Royce of Madison and Madison Mayor Paul Soglin. For the potential advantages and pitfalls of a crowded primary, look to the career of one of the state's most successful politicians, former Governor Tommy Thompson. In the 86 GOP primary for governor, Thompson beat a field that at the end included Jonathan Berry, Dane County Executive, Milwaukee businessman George Watts, and Albert Wiley, a professor. Thompson went on to beat incumbent Democrat Tony Earl. In an interview, Thompson said the large Republican primary pulled attention away from Earl. It changes everything because all these individuals are vying for news, and there's not enough news for everybody, Thompson said of a big field. That's also not good for the incumbent.
But a competitive primary isn't always good for the challengers either, as Thompson learned firsthand in a four-way 2012 GOP primary for U.S. Senate, in which he faced businessman Eric Hovey, Mark Newman, and then Assembly Speaker Jeff Fitzgerald. Thompson won the primary only to find himself underfunded and under attack by Democratic opponent Tammy Baldwin, who hadn't faced a competitive primary. Boosted by a strong showing by then President Barack Obama in Wisconsin, Baldwin solidly beat Thompson. The winner of the 2018 primary will be at an immediate financial disadvantage to Walker, a proven fundraiser and corrupt bastard. But the Democrats might benefit from a favorable political climate and money from outside groups, a possibility that Walker himself pointed to in a recent interview on the Goucher. Now, Evers got 255,000 votes in a statewide election. That would probably win a primary. Jim Doyle, when he won, Just 38% of the vote, 212,000 votes. Come back with us. Tony Evers, he is the superintendent of the Department of Public Instruction and a Dem. He's one of the many running for governor. Come back with.
Don't you have homes?
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. My name is Harvey Lauer, and I'm 82. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My folks got me a little radio in 1940, and that was the best Christmas present I ever got. When I was 11 years old is when I started to play music, play the piano, and then the accordion, and then the cello. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. America, let's do lunch.
1 in 6 seniors faces the threat of hunger, and millions more live in isolation. Drop off a hot meal and say a quick hello. Volunteer for Meals on Wheels by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org. This message brought to you by Meals on Wheels America and the Ad Council.
I am here from the future. The bridge is out because you didn't fund the roads. Listen to 1510 AM WRRD, Milwaukee, Waukesha. Listen to them if you want to live.
Here's a great shot of your uncles, your grandma. Hey, see this photo from my trip to Utah with your grandpa?
Yeah.
Beautiful lands. That's where I shot my first deer.
Can we go hunt there?
Probably not for long. Some politicians in Washington think those hunting areas aren't worth protecting.
Why not?
Well, some of them think they know better than us. And they want to sell off public lands for private development, no matter the consequences.
That's just wrong. Don't public lands belong to all of us?
Well, they do for now. I'll tell you what, those deer sure aren't going to stick around once they start drilling areas like this.
Dad, that's crazy.
It sure is. It sure is.
Speaker Paul Ryan, please stop these attacks on our national monuments. Paid for by Wisconsin Wildlife Federation.
What do current WRRD sponsors, guys like Lenny Mattioli, Crazy TV Lenny, now Crazy E-Bike Lenny, have to say about advertising with Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio? WRRD 1510 AM, would you call us a great radio advertising source or the greatest radio advertising source ever, sir?
Okay, first of all, my emotional answer, the greatest.
Yes.
Now a realistic businessman answer, okay? I would say equal to or better than any talk show style radio station that I've ever advertised on. The return on invested advertising dollar is as good on your station as I've ever seen. Right now, it's the best.
Be like Lenny. Advertise with News Talk 1510 AM. Call me, 414-635-0872, or email me, crute@newstalk1510am.com.
Good afternoon. It's 3:32 for 1510 AM WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly. Wisconsin has lost its reputation as a leader in environmental conservation under Republican Governor Scott Walker. According to Barry Rabe, a political scientist at the University of Michigan who is quoted in the Journal Sentinel, Wisconsin has been one of the most active states in pulling back from environmental protections and programs in recent years. The biggest impact has been at the Department of Natural Resources, which has seen its ranks fall by several hundred people over the past few years. In a change from previous administrations, DNR officials now rarely weigh in on conservation policies or pending legislation. Tonight, mostly clear, lows in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, highs in the low 50s. And Wednesday, sunshine, highs in the mid-40s. Currently 47 degrees in Milwaukee and 51 in Waukesha. For 1510 AM, my name is Brian Kelly.
The Devil's Advocates. Political commentary from the back of the class.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we are joined right now live via phone by a fine guest and a friend of this program. He is Tony Evers. He is the State Superintendent, Department of Public Instruction, and of course, a Democratic gubernatorial candidate. Tony, welcome back to the Devil's Advocate, sir.
It's great to be back. Thanks for inviting me. I hope my cruddy cold voice isn't too much of a problem today, but I'll get through it.
Well, good, sir. We appreciate you joining us. Couldn't have you in before the holiday due to timing and no live shows and all that kind of stuff. But, Tony, you are under attack by the current governor of the state of Wisconsin, not just because you're a candidate, but, sir, in your current position with the Department of Public Instruction, you have become a lightning rod for lawsuits from the pro-Walker interest, Wisconsin Institute of Law and Liberty specifically. Tony, let's start with this lawsuit. Didn't you already have this battle in the courts? And didn't the Wisconsin Supreme Court already rule that you have the constitutional authority to set policy, sir?
Yes, absolutely. Actually, that position was written by none other than Justice Gableman. So yes, we've been through this issue, and the Supreme Court decided that our position was correct. That I do have the authority to work on administrative rules without the governor's permission, and now we seem to want to relitigate that. It's kind of a sad commentary to think that we have to continually cycle back through this issue, but apparently the governor feels strongly enough about it that he's going to take us on and frankly handcuff us as it relates, as it impacts us as far as who represents me.
Well, Tony, that's of course the meat of the story. It's not simply that you're under threat of litigation. It's that the governor has inserted himself and through the Attorney General's office and basically made a decision that you don't get to defend yourself. The state of Wisconsin is going to take on the role of plaintiff against you in this case. How exactly do they rationalize and justify this, sir?
Well, it makes my head spin too. To think that I'm going to be in front of the Supreme Court with an attorney that's going to be saying, "Well, we agree with the plaintiff." I mean, frankly, how in the hell is that going to work out? I can't imagine anybody in the state of Wisconsin that would feel comfortable having a counsel that's going to be representing you in court in a high-profile, highly important case that could very well decimate the authority of the state superintendent. And that person is not going to represent me. He's representing the other side. It's mind-boggling. It's a sad commentary. It's a sad attack.
Tony, my understanding, the governor's office somehow justifies this by saying, their interest is the state's interest, and you, Tony Evers, as a named defendant, your interests are secondary to the interest of the state, and therefore we agree with the plaintiffs, and we're not going to ably defend you. You try to bring a DPI attorney, and what? Now you've got the Solicitor General, Misha Tetzlin, who will offer you legal counsel if you have to accept this circumstance, Tony.
Yeah, that's just baloney. I mean, the idea that somehow a constitutional officer, namely me in this case, has to have as counsel someone that's already decided what the outcome's going to be. It's like a kangaroo court before the court even happens. It's just ridiculous. If they want to go ahead and challenge me and this law, I'm guessing the Supreme Court will throw it out because it has no merit. But if they want to represent the state of Wisconsin, then let me have the attorney from the Department of Public Instruction. There's just no reason why that can't happen. And it's just, like I said, I can't believe any of your listeners will believe that somehow this is going to have a happy ending, because it is not if we allow this to happen.
Tony, the makeup of the court has changed ever so slightly, even in the last year. We've seen the retirement of Prosser and the appointment of Dan Kelly. How would that affect the outcome predicated on the prior math, sir?
Yeah, well, that's a good question, because Justice Prosser did come down on the side of the department and the state superintendent in that case, and that was great to have that happen. He's gone. He's replaced by somebody who actually, in some fashion, was connected with Wills, as I remember, Wisconsin Institute for Liberty and whatever the other L is. And he was connected before he became a Supreme Court justice. He was connected with that organization. I think he was even part of the kind of the consultation on that last case where they lost. So I'm guessing, if I was a rational person, that may be a problem for me. So is that connected with that switch? Could be. I don't know. I can't speak for Justice Kelly, but it seems to me that having one of the people that voted for me is now gone, and somebody that worked with the group that opposed me last time is now on the court. Not quite sure how that. And then on top of it, stick me with a lawyer that isn't going to represent me. It just seems to be a setup. It seems to be it's an attack. There's no question about that. It's an irrational attack, and I'm just sickened by it.
You are listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD. We're speaking with Tony Evers, State Superintendent of the Department of Public Instruction, and of course, a Democratic gubernatorial candidate. Well, Tony, I mean, not only does he apparently, through the Attorney General Brad Schimel, do they not agree with your position? They agree with Will. They want to provide you with an attorney that agrees with the Wisconsin Institute for Law and Liberty. And, oh, yeah, you could be a political adversary if you come through the Democratic primary against the sitting governor. And, boy, I'm sure they'd love to have some special interest group running all sorts of ads about how you overstepped your bounds as a constitutional officer and you don't deserve to be governor. But I got to ask you a question regarding Will's position. They say there's a new law that took effect in September, requiring agencies to run the scope of rules passed the Department of Administration. Is this a different position from last year's case? And if so, how do you distinguish it?
Right. The only difference is we have to run it by Governor Walker's right-hand guy instead of Governor Walker. That's the only difference, and that's like a flea on an elephant difference. That just doesn't hold any water. The Department of Administration secretary is appointed by the governor of the state of Wisconsin, is part of the governor's executive council and the way they work. He's part of the cabinet, and so having us go through him instead of Governor Walker there's no difference there. And so yes, this is I believe a case without any merit at all. I think they've decided that there's a better chance of winning now because there's a change in the makeup of the court.
Well, Tony, of course,
it's an attack on me as a candidate too. The idea that somehow I'm breaking the law, which all we're doing is following exactly what the Supreme Court said previously.
Well, I guess, Tony, that leads me to my next question. Do you think this is an attack on the educational system, on you as superintendent of DPI, or is this an attack on Tony Evers, candidate for governor, sir?
I think it's a twofer, and that's exactly why they're doing it. They wanted to weaken the position of the state superintendent, and they've lost. And now they're trying again, and also they're trying to attack me as a potential opponent of Governor Walker. Yeah, it's a twofer. It's both.
Now, Tony, it's hard to catch any error when there's 16 declared Democrats. Could this governor inadvertently be pushing you to the top of the field by putting you on the front page of the paper every day, sir?
I don't know about that. I feel confident in the position I'm in, regardless of that. We've won 3 times statewide, and all sorts of other reasons why I believe that I will win the primary. But that aside, we are going to we are going to make sure that this issue is resolved in the best way possible. I need fair representation, and I'm going to demand that. And we're going to eventually get to the point where we will be in a better place than we are now. This is just ridiculous. I think the people of Wisconsin will even if they're supporters of Governor Walker, are saying, what in the hell is going on here? Why are they taking on this issue now? Why are they, if I was in court, I wouldn't go to court if I didn't have my own representation that reflects what I'm thinking. I can't believe there's a person in the state that believes that's a good idea. So yes, this is a high-profile case. We're going to be fighting it every inch of the way.
Well, barely veiled. Don't call it thinly veiled. I mean, it's just pure partisanship, Tony. It certainly seems like it to an outside observer. Let me ask you, sir. We've talked about this big Democratic field and started this conversation before you joined us on air today. Tony, we wish you well. You, I know, have one statewide elective office, and perhaps you've got something of a front-runner status currently amongst this large Dem field. But, Tony, there's going to be a lot of broken hearts on election night come next August. Here's a question that was asked of us. I'm going to ask it of you, sir. Should you lose the primary, Tony, will you come out and commit to supporting, endorsing, standing behind whatever Dem does win the primary against Scott Walker?
The answer is yes. My focus, though, is not on what I'm going to do if I lose. It's focusing on how I can beat Scott Walker, and that will continue. I don't care if there's 50 to 100 candidates in the Democratic field. My focus is on removing Scott Walker from office, and that's exactly what I plan to do.
Well, Tony Evers, coming on the Devil's Advocates, great first step, sir. I would hope in the next appearance on this fine program, it's not because you're getting the shaft from the governor of the state of Wisconsin, but, no promises, Tony. You know how the man is.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. No, we're going to persevere right from the get-go.
Tony Evers, get well, sir. And again, thank you very much for joining us here on the Devil's Advocate, State Superintendent, Department of Public Instruction, and of course, a fine Democratic gubernatorial candidate. More of us, more Devil's Advocates. I swear I'm going to wage a war on Christmas. It's coming soon. Come back with us right here on WRRD 1510 AM.
Got two reasons why I cry away each lonely night. The first one's named Sweet Henry, and she's my heart's delight. The second one is Prison Baby, the sheriff's on my trail. And if he catches up with me, I'll spend my life in jail.
Good luck. We're all counting on you.
If you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
Have you outgrown your house? Are you sick of apartment living? Not ready to buy but know you need to move? Hi folks, this is Tom Hartman for CCL Management in Middleton. You should consider moving up to one of the finer rental homes CCL Management represents. Unique houses and condos, always clean, most are pet friendly. Visit cclmanagement.com today to find your new home. CCL Management, Dane County's premier leasing and property management company.
Call CCL Management at 833-0009. That's 833-0009 or visit cclmanagement.com today.
Hey folks, sexy liberal Stephanie Miller here. Most new Wisconsin jobs are in Dane County, it's true. Some of my listeners are relocating to Madison. Many already commute there. When asked where to turn for a trusted real estate team that understands Madison, I say the same thing. Solidarity Realty. They help you through the process and protect your consumer rights. They live their values building community, promoting sustainability and diversity. Find them today at solidarityrealty.com and tell them Stephanie Miller sent you.
Did you just look down at your phone? You did it again, didn't you? You're flying down the road in a 3-ton hunk of steel. And a text takes your eyes off the road for an average of 5 seconds. At 55 miles per hour, that's long enough to travel the length of a football field and cause some serious damage. Turn it off. Trust me, whatever it is, you'll live.
Learn more at StopTextsStopWrecks.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
Did you ever eat a perfect peach? Flavorful and succulent, juice dripping from your mouth. That's what you can expect every time you shop at Pete's Fruit Market. A perfect peach or any other fresh produce to satisfy your taste buds. Try Pete's brand new, clean, bottled, full-service grocery store on Martin Luther King and North Avenue. Daily specials, organic fruits and vegetables, and always a perfect peach. Go to Pete's Fruit Market in Bronzeville. Tell them the Devil's Advocate sent you. You've been taking the right actions, resisting the GOP's destruction of our state and country. You've marched, written letters, and listened to those busy signals day after day. Countless times you've hashtagged and frowny-faced articles on social media. You're not alone, but it's time to take the next steps. All politics are local. Support, vote, and elect progressive candidates to office with your Democratic Party. Your ideas and energy are what the party is missing. This ad sponsored by the Walworth County Dems, walworthdems.org.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Make sure you tune in to News Talk 1510 a.m. throughout the day for breaking news and up-to-the-minute political commentary. Monday through Friday, start your day with the Earl Ingram Show, 7 to 9 a.m. From 9 to 11, take a deep dive into Milwaukee news and Wisconsin politics on 414 Wisconsin with Brian Kelly and me, Stu Mann, the newsman. From 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman program. Then from 2 to 5, join us for the greatest radio show ever, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. Join the Resistance. News Talk 1510 a.m. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Merry Christmas! Dinner was full!
You're a mean one, Mr. Grinch. You really are a heel. You're as cuddly as a cactus.
And we are back. Thank you for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD. Phone lines open for you, 844-967-2789.
Our thanks to Tony Evers. No Grinch, that one. He is the State Superintendent, Department of Public Instruction, and a Democratic gubernatorial candidate. But Dom, the war on Christmas, it has begun. Game on, bring it.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the Trumps and the Walkers and any other faux Christians that use this holiday, wrap themselves in tinsel in some way, and declare us the secular left and we're the bad ones. And I say, kiss my ass. First and foremost, the Trump tree has arrived. A Wisconsin tree will grace the White House. Throw this one out. It's from the, what is this, fine paper, the Shawano Leader. Official Christmas tree arrives at the White House. Melania Trump and son, Barron. It's so ironic. You know, that's his fake name. Donald Trump's fake name is John Barron. They would name his kid Barron. But anyways, Melania Trump and son Barron, real son, I think, continued a time-honored First Lady tradition on Monday, receiving the official White House Christmas tree. A military band quartet played holiday tunes as a horse-drawn wagon carried the 10.5-foot balsam fir from Wisconsin up the White House driveway. The First Lady, wearing a holiday red turtleneck and coat draped over her shoulders, and Barron in a dark suit coat, white shirt, and dark slacks, emerged from the north portico. They circled the tree and walked over to Jim and Diane Chapman, who presented it. The Chapmans own a Christmas tree farm in Wisconsin and won an annual contest sponsored by the National Christmas Tree Association. Fine group of Christmas tree growers, Tom. Here's what Melania said. This is a beautiful tree. Thank you so much. We will decorate it very nicely. I hope you can come and visit with us. The White House Chief usher who oversees the residence and the grounds superintendent picked out the tree, which came from Hanover's Christmas Tree Farms, north of Shawano, during a September scouting trip. After the Trumps gave their symbolic approval, the tree was carefully carted off to the Blue Room, where after a slight trim and removal of monstrous chandelier, it will become the holiday showstopper for a president who has vowed to put Christmas back in the center of the winter holidays. During last year's presidential campaign, Donald Trump railed against a preference for saying Happy Holidays instead of Merry Christmas, characterizing it as chipping away at Christianity.
Yeah.
Now, here's the part that sticks in my craw. If the failure to say Merry frickin' Christmas is what's really chipping away at Christianity, when we see Roy Moore, when we see the self-confessed groper-in-chief, and his greatest support base comes from the Christian evangelicals, those that would declare the secular left's war on Christmas. Well, you know what? You got a war. You got a war. I'm bringing it, Tom, because this has taken all of the spirit of Christianity, and I'm talking about the Republicans. I'm talking about you, Trump. I'm talking about you, Walker. There is no Christ in Christmas left. It is just a Cyber Monday marketing campaign for you to sell cheap campaign swag at discounted rates
for oodles of profit to put into your campaign coffers.
So you win re-election.
Plumber's helper. I'll open up his mouth and I'll shove it in.
So anyways, kiss my ass, Republicans. You think you own this holiday, this Christmas? Well, I'm declaring it Festivus for the rest of us. They do it right here on Brady Street, December 2nd, this Saturday night. Festivus for the rest of us, man. Grab your polls, air your grievances, and tell those Republicans they don't own this holiday anymore. They're giving it back, and we're not celebrating it. No Merry Christmas on the air.
Crudy.
Corporate mandate.
It's a major award. You might be more right than you realize from the Raw story. Of course, you mentioned President Trump promised during his campaign.
Fake Christian Trump.
He would be saying Merry Christmas, but his own online store may have broken that vow while promoting a Cyber Monday sale. Ignoring the fact that Americans would use the phrase regardless of the election outcome, Trump blasted liberals on October 13th of 2016 for not saying Merry Christmas enough. Quote, they don't use the word Christmas because it's not politically correct.
Maybe it's not even Halloween yet.
The then GOP nominee said, we're saying Merry Christmas again. But that phrase was left out of the Trump Store's Cyber Monday advertisement. According to New York Daily News opinion editor Josh Greenman, the advertisement promising up to 30% off only makes mention of delivery before the holidays.
Happy Hanukkah, everyone.
It is worth noting, however, that the official store sells a hat with the words Merry Christmas on the back, which was included in one of the items in the advertisement. But the Cyber Monday promotion presented by Trump's online store also offers no acknowledgement of Christmas.
He hates Christmas. He hates real Christians. He only likes the fake kind. The stupid kind, the lemming kind, the sheep-like kind. That's the only sort of Christians Trump wants. Those that blindly support him and forgive his many, many sins.
Lots of forgiveness.
Well, you know, the Trump tree had to be delivered early because the Trumps, they didn't vacation so much for the Thanksgiving at the White House. He was on the golf course in Palm Beach. You know, where wankers going next. Christmas. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Never hear Christmas again on this radio station. It is banned.
If any of you are looking for any last-minute gift ideas for me, I have one. I like Frank Shirley, my boss, right here tonight. I want him brought from his happy holiday slumber over there on Melody Lane with all the other rich people, and I want him brought right here with a big ribbon on his head. And I want to look him straight in the eye, and I want to tell him what a cheap, lying, no-good, rotten, four-flushing, low-life, snake-licking, dirt-eating, inbred, overstuffed, ignorant, blood-sucking, dog-kissing, brainless, hopeless, heartless, fat-ass, bug-eyed, stiff-legged, spotty-lipped, worm-headed sack of monkey shit he is. Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and he puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
The Devil's Advocates. Political commentary from the back of the class.
Hey, Ike, welcome to the Devil's Advocates. What do you got for us today?
Fantastic. Thanks for taking a call. And I got to start off with my favorite wrestler, Bobby the Brain Heenan.
If the Wankinator was a wrestler, who do you think would most personify the current governor?
I got a great name for him, Scott the Shyster Walker. I think that should be his wrestling name.
I think it's already been used. I think it's his skateboard name, sir. Allegedly.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha.
He won't shut me up. Fighting for the job. I'm Michael Toscano.
They call her Pocahontas.
President Trump interrupting his comments to a group of Navajo Native American veterans, the one known as Code Talkers, to toss in a jab at one of his favorite targets, Massachusetts Senator Elizabeth Warren. The comment was met with awkward silence at the White House event by the Native Americans. Senator Warren, not silent.
Donald Trump does this over and over, thinking somehow he's going to shut me up with it. It hadn't worked in the past. It is not going to work in the future.
There's a courtroom battle underway in Washington this hour over who should temporarily run the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which has levied fines on major banks for defrauding consumers. President Trump sent over his budget director, Mick Mulvaney, but Bureau official Leandra English, picked by the outgoing director, also showed up and filed a restraining order against Mulvaney, who says he's in charge anyway.
The president has made it very clear he wants me here, and honestly, since my name's on the door now, I want to be here. I don't want anything coming out of here that I don't know about.
The White House says President Trump will not be campaigning for Alabama Republican Senate nominee Roy Moore, accused of sexual assault and pedophilia. And on Capitol Hill this afternoon,
I am embarrassed. I feel ashamed.
Democratic Senator Al Franken returned to work, apologizing to women who claim he groped them and saying he's ready to be held accountable. Lots of us are buying new homes, record numbers, in fact.
The Commerce Department says new home sales climbed 6.2% last month. The seasonally adjusted rate of 685,000 units is the third straight monthly gain and the biggest increase since October of 2007. The Northeast and Midwest brought in much of the sales growth, even though there are fewer property bargains because of a shortage of homes for sale. The average price of a new home has jumped more than 13% in the past 12 months. Jan Johnson, Washington.
On Wall Street, the Dow closed up slightly, the S&P and NASDAQ down. I'm Michael Toscano.
It's called Medi-Share, and it's affordable biblical health care. And if you're wondering, what does that mean? Well, ask the people who are already members, like the Badger family. It's a big family, by the way.
We have 7 boys, 3 girls. We live out in the country. We homeschool.
And they thank God for Medi-Share, especially after one of their babies was born with spina bifida, and the total bill was about $250,000. Medi-Share members met the entire need and sent them cards and letters letting them know they're praying for them.
Medi-Share is, we love it. With myself being self-employed, owning my own business, Medi-Share was a great option as far as affordability. With Medi-Share, as far as like all of our stuff, it's always come through.
Yeah, more and more people are doing this, and you can see why. Hundreds of thousands of Christian believers sharing, and that is a beautiful thing. Find out more. Call 844-91-BIBLE. That's 844-91-BIBLE. 844-91-BIBLE.
In London, Prince Harry and actress Meghan Markle held their first joint interview since announcing their engagement. Harry telling the BBC they plan to start a family in the near future. The prince also saying he wants his American fiancée to know what to expect.
I know that I'm in love with this girl, and I hope that she's in love with me. But we still had to sit down on the sofa, and I still had to have some pretty, frank conversations with her to say, look, what you're letting yourself in for it's a big deal.
Markle says she was completely unprepared for the level of media interest after their relatively quiet courtship.
Obviously, there have been layers attached to how public it has become after we had a good 5-6 months almost with just privacy, which was amazing.
And Markle says she's looking forward to a new life after leaving her role on the USA Network TV series Suits.
I don't see it as giving anything up. I just see it as a change.
It's a new challenge. It's
a new chapter.
I'm Michael Toscano.
Hiring is important, but finding the right people can be a real challenge. That's why ZipRecruiter is obsessed with finding you qualified candidates fast. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds candidates with the right experience, then alerts the most qualified ones to apply for your job as soon as you post it. You can even add screening questions to your job post, narrowing your focus to only relevant applicants, saving you time. No wonder 80% of employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within just one day. The right candidates are out there. This is how you find them. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Businesses of all sizes trust ZipRecruiter for their hiring needs. We're so confident that ZipRecruiter will get you better results than anywhere else. We'll let you try it free. That's right, free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/talk. That's ZipRecruiter.com/talk. ZipRecruiter.com/.
Good afternoon. It's 4:05 for 1510 a.m. WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio. My name is Brian Kelly, and I have some headlines for you. Questions are not being answered about the sudden resignation of Milwaukee Public Schools Chief Financial Officer. 6 months after the departure of Gerald J. Pace, the MPS administration still has not explained the circumstances surrounding his quick exit. Also, under Scott Walker, Wisconsin has lost its reputation as a leader in environmental protections. Wisconsin lawmakers from both parties are renewing a call to keep juvenile inmates closer to home. The city of Milwaukee has been named America's Best City to Find Love. Carol Burnett is coming to the Riverside Theater, and the Packers lost to the Steelers yesterday, 31-28 in heartbreaking fashion. Tonight, mostly clear, lows in the mid-40s. Tomorrow, mostly cloudy, highs in the low 50s. And Wednesday, sunshine, highs in the mid-40s. Currently 45 degrees in Milwaukee and 50 in Waukesha. For 1510 a.m., my name is Brian Kelly.
The following program is a presentation of DC Communications, LLC. Warning, you are about to listen to the greatest radio show ever. And due to contractual obligations and to shield our airwaves corporate licensees from any semblance of liability, responsibility, and gullibility, we must tell you the views represented on this show are not necessarily those of this station or its management. This radio show contains differing points of view on current political topics, and due to the nature of its contents, it should be heard by everyone. Thank you for listening.
3, 2, 1.
Now live from the heart of liberal Wisconsin, where the political party is just beginning, welcome to the Devil's Advocate Show. Best friends proving it's never personal, only politics.
Please allow me to introduce myself.
Now here are your hosts, Dom and Crute.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. Dominic, we are sliding into the 4 o'clock happy hour. And I got to tell you, this Trump presidency, it is constant chaos. I did get an email from the White House earlier today. Tax reform in time for Christmas. You know, it would give the rich something to feel blessed about at the holidays, Dom. I'm going to read very briefly. Tax reform in time for Christmas. With the holiday season upon us, President Donald J. Trump is working hard with Congress to cut taxes for middle-income families. Yeah, right. For like a year. And fix our nation's broken tax code in time for Christmas. Because, You know, what would Jesus do about the carried interest loophole, Tom?
He'd cut taxes.
And, of course, the estate tax?
Gone. I mean, when you're the son of God and you're going to live forever, do you really need an estate tax?
The new bill currently making its way through the Senate will slash taxes by $1.5 trillion over the next 10 years and is projected to boost household incomes, mostly by shills of the right. Significantly, after nearly 2 decades of stagnation, the new code will allow families to spend more of their hard-earned dollars towards success of their children while restoring America's competitive business edge and stimulating job growth. Just in time for Christmas, Dom.
Just in time.
I mean, really, you're going to wrap everything in the Christmas blanket now?
Yes, well, it's after Thanksgiving. I mean, there's nothing else to wrap it around. Just in time for Christmas.
Dom, before we can move on from Thanksgiving, we got to take note. Some indigenous people came to the White House today, Navajo code talkers. And Trump greeted them there and talked about his tax bill, you know, very proud. And you're going to be so proud, and even predicted some Democrats might join, you know, after they saw that the Republicans were going to win. You know, we Democrats, we just try to get on the winning team for a change. We'll all come over to Trump's rationale then. Well, there's like 6 wavering Republican senators. I don't think they're to the finish line yet, but that's a side topic for the moment, Dom.
For the moment. You think that would be, you know, something that we'd really want to dive into. There's a lot of, I'd say a fair amount of Republican hesitation on the Senate side for this tax bill. But that's not what we're going to talk about, Crudy.
No, we're going to talk about how this man, you know, in the Thanksgiving holiday spirit, would use a racial insult while he's got indigenous people standing right next to him. Put his hand on the man's shoulder to lay the racial insult against his opponent, Elizabeth Warren, of course, calling her Pocahontas.
Let's set the stage. Philip Bump from the Washington Post. The Code Talkers were Native American soldiers who were deployed during the World Wars to send messages between units using a nearly uncrackable code, their native languages. During World War II, Navajo men were recruited by the Marines and served in the Pacific Theater, aiding in the defeat of the Japanese Army. Their story has become well known, including being featured in a 2002 film. On Monday, President Trump welcomed 3 of the 13 surviving veterans of the Code Talker program to the White House for an event honoring their service. Peter McDonald, one of those survivors and former chairman of the Navajo Nation, gave a speech describing his and his friends' service and the losses their unit and the American forces incurred. When he was done, Trump took the microphone. "That was so incredible, and now I don't have to make my speech," Trump said. "I had the most beautiful speech written out. I was so proud of it."
Why, you didn't write it, Trump.
Instead, he closed the binder containing his speech and handed it to McDonald. "I know you like me," Trump added, "so I know you'll save it."
Here's a speech I didn't give. Instead, I'm going to opt
to insult you.
To go off prompter, let's say.
Then speaking from the cuff.
You know when Trump's off prompter, true colors come through.
Oh,
Dom.
for sure. Then, of course, his favorite insult of Senator Elizabeth Warren. We have some of that sound, I believe. Fancy Brian, if you would, please. Cut 102.
Although we have a representative in Congress who they say was here a long time ago. They call her Pocahontas.
Now, he's saying this while he has his hands on the one hand
Navajo Code Talker's shoulder.
A veteran of World War II that helped this country just got done talking about the losses that he and his unit and his friends and, of course, the American forces took. And Trump thought this was a perfect time.
Never a better opportunity than to use a racially insensitive indigenous American joke, Don.
Nobody's fighting for the veterans like I'm fighting for the veterans.
Now, of course, during the White House press conference today, Sarah Huckabee Sanders pushed back and said, well, I don't think that's a racial slur, so it's okay.
Says the white woman.
Now, then I just wonder, well, you know, do you think Trump means it as a compliment? But Warren, Elizabeth Warren, had something to say about it as well. Let's keep going. Cut 103. Here's the response from Senator Warren.
It is deeply unfortunate that the President of the United States cannot even make it through a ceremony honoring these heroes without having to throw out a racial slur.
And let's do the next one. Elizabeth Warren.
Donald Trump does this over and over, thinking somehow he's going to shut me up with it. It hadn't worked in the past. It is not going to work in the future.
I suspect she will persist, Dom.
I imagine she will, as she should. Donald Trump
is this a new low?
Another low?
What
I mean, when you're dragging on the bottom, can you really get any farther?
Is this the worst Trump headline even of the holiday weekend, Dom? Of course, he spent much of his time on the golf course.
With the veterans, right? Oh, no, that was the other Republican and Democratic presidents. Sorry.
The veterans of the Palm Beach Wars.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to be working for you. I'm not going to have time to go play golf. Believe me.
Believe me.
I thought I read over the weekend he's spent 80 days of his presidency so far on Trump properties. I don't know how many days golfing, but something approaching 80.
Wow.
Sounds nice. It's not nice.
I don't think
good.
Phil Mickelson spent that much time on the links this year, Dom. What do you think the most offensive Trump story of the weekend is? Is it this one?
Well, this is Monday.
This is a Monday story.
I mean, so this is now into, I don't consider Sunday the beginning of the week. I think this is now the new week. When we get on the air, it's now the new week. So, this is a hell of a way to start the week, man.
Let's talk about how we close the week then. Let's talk about that.
Sure.
Of course.
Which one?
The plantation mentality targeting the African-American father of one of the UCLA players that shoplifted in China, and they weren't, significantly thankful of the massa. And so he basically dog whistles at this man, know your place, you uppity you-know-what.
A poor man's Don King.
Now, Don King spoke on behalf of Donald Trump, or at least he went to Cleveland to speak on behalf of Donald Trump. Don King's a Trump supporter, and he calls this man a poor man's Don King without the hair.
Well, that's because, of course, he's poor. Or Don King has money, so Donald Trump likes Don King.
Well, I think Ball's probably got some money. His kid's in the NBA, the elder. His kid's got a new contract. In fact, I think the man around kicks. But above and beyond that, Donald Trump, over the course of the weekend, claimed that Time Magazine had called him.
What?
And wanted to award him Man of the Year again, and he declined. And then Time Magazine had to come out and say, that's not true.
Now, what? This is so troubling to me. And it seems like
more troubling than the fact that he made up fake Time covers and had them put up at five or so of his golf courses around the world.
Yes.
Is that more troubling than a fake Time cover? Because that's pretty troubling. Someone's so narcissistic.
I get a fake Time cover, man. I get it. You can get a picture done and stick it on a magazine.
But you don't replicate it and put it in 5 properties all around the world.
Amusement parks and get that done. So, whatever. Yes, a little strange. But listen, either somebody from Time Magazine called him.
They did not.
And had this conversation with him.
They did not.
Or he is just pulling out of ass for absolutely no reason.
He does.
To present to the world and millions of Twitter followers, and of course everyone else is going to hear it because of the news cycle, that he turned down Time Magazine for Man of the Year.
I love the fact that the Barack Obama, the former White House photographer, sent like 12 Obama Time covers and said, time to catch up.
Nice. So is he also going to win swimsuit model, SI's swimsuit model of the year? Did he turn that one down too?
Turned on the cover.
Maybe he's going to turn down The Voice. He was going to go on American Idol. I'm not sure what other things he's turned down. He is so supremely talented in everything. Beautiful. Trust me. It's the most beautiful, talented person you've ever met. He can do anything. He can do no wrong. And he makes something like this up. This is just... The other things are insulting. The other things are certainly insulting. But this goes to the core of this man. He just makes it up. Now, does he believe it? That's a little concerning. Did he actually have a conversation with somebody? Did he have his phone next to his ear and just thought he talked to somebody?
I don't know, but the way you're describing him sounds exactly like the way that Putin describes himself, because he walks around with the shirt off and he catches all the fish, he fights everybody, and he beats everybody in every single fight he's ever made. It sounds like he wants to be Putin. Do you know the other thing Donald Trump apparently is being reported to have done? He's denying the validity of the Access Hollywood tape. He's already apologized for it. He's already admitted it happened. Did he not listen to himself when he did that prior?
Maybe I just thought it was, expedient for me, if I'm Donald Trump, it was expedient just to get it behind me. Locker room talk. But no, it really wasn't me. What?
My kid asks me every day, what dumb thing did Donald Trump do today? And today I'm going to have to tell him he insulted the indigenous Navajo code talkers in the Oval Office, dropped a little Pocahontas on him. Come back, more Devil's Advocates. Hurry up, man. The AM's turning off soon. You better live stream us, newstalk1510am.com. Phone numbers open to you, 844-967-2789.
There's nobody that's done so much for equality as I have.
Even their new motto, resist. And I guess it's a pretty accurate motto. Every time I see it, I say, that's right.
American women deserve better, and American women are here to fight back.
Scott Walker thinks Wisconsin should once again hire him as governor.
You wouldn't hire me to be a neurosurgeon.
This is a person who has not worked in the private sector since 1993.
You wouldn't hire me to run condos. You wouldn't hire me to run HP.
And has made his political career.
You probably wouldn't hire me to run the United States Senate.
By using divisive tactics to the benefit of his corporate donors.
The first step is we're going to deal with collective bargaining for all public employee unions. Because you divide and conquer.
Now he supports the largest publicly funded government subsidy of a foreign corporation in American history.
They can go suck lemons.
And Scott Walker has yet to live up to his first campaign promise to create 250,000 jobs.
Is this a campaign promise, something you want to be held to?
Absolutely. Scott Walker, we the people are done sucking your lemons. This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org. We've got Jesse Pica-Holtz in studio with Solidarity Realty. Jesse, why on earth are you advertising in the Milwaukee area when you help buy and sell homes in Dane County?
Simple. Since Walker's policies have taken hold 7 years ago, most new job growth in Wisconsin has happened here in Dane County because of its progressive policies. And plenty of folks who commute to or from Madison already know that many rentals here are more expensive than a fixed mortgage.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Dane County, call Solidarity Realty or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
I'm State Representative Jocasta Zamaripa.
And I'm Joel Clayfish.
Listen to us on the Joel and Jocasta Show, Saturdays at 3 p.m.
She's a Latina woman from the inner city of Milwaukee, and I'm a white guy from the suburbs. Diversity in the white guy. You are not going to believe what you hear on this show. I'm telling you, you're going to have to listen. News Talk, 1510 a.m., WRRD.
Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Did you ever eat a perfect peach? Flavorful and succulent, juice dripping from your mouth. That's what you can expect every time you shop at Pete's Fruit Market. A perfect peach or any other fresh produce to satisfy your taste buds. Try Pete's brand new, clean, bottled, full-service grocery store on Martin Luther King and North Avenue. Daily specials, organic fruits and vegetables, and always a perfect peach. Go to Pete's Fruit Market in Bronzeville. Tell them the Devil's Advocate sent you.
I was on Zero Res Madison's Facebook page the other day, and they have almost 2,000 testimonials from local customers. Apparently, I am not the only one stoked on how cool this company is. A green technology that actually works better and doesn't cost more. It's a no-brainer. I'm in. We are starting our own Devil's Advocates revolution to free your carpets from harsh chemicals and soaps. Call Zero Res today and ask for the Diamond Crute Special 608-848-9000 or schedule online at ZeroResMadison.com. Zero Res, spell it forward or backward. It's the right way to clean.
Businesses today thrive and survive with technology. At Five Nines, we provide businesses with the IT tools they need to stay relevant. We offer enterprise-level solutions at competitive prices. I'm Todd Stryker, President and CEO of Five Nines. Let us manage your IT so you can focus on more important things, like running your business. Check us out at 5nines.com. That's the number 5nines.com.
If you're a single man under the age of 35, you'd probably like to know what the ladies are looking for on an online dating site. A guy who had a few drinks and later got pulled over for buzzed driving. See, that could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. And doesn't a guy who's back living with his parents but calls them my roommates just scream Mr. Right?
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Good people don't smoke marijuana.
The Devil's Advocates, because it's always 420 somewhere.
And we are back from the 420 break. Thank you so much for listening to the Devil's Advocates radio show live on Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, 1510 AM WRRD. You can join us on the phones, 844-967-2789.
Dominic, the FCC makes us turn this fine FM 1510 AM right here in Milwaukee off at about 428, something like that. So you better get used to it. Newstalk1510am.com. Live stream us there, or DominicRoot.com. You can always find us there. Just find us. Just listen to the last half an hour. Sometimes it's the best material of the day. And Dom, there is an exclusive. Roy Moore, new accusers. Perhaps it's a conspiracy. We'll talk about that soon. But let's get to our buddy Ignacio next.
Hey, Ignacio, welcome. Happy Monday. What do you got for us today?
Gentlemen, how are you?
Awesome.
Good. Hopefully you had a lot of turkey, a lot of good eats.
Way too much, man. I gained like 10 pounds last week. I'm depressed.
Fantastic, because we're all going to need it. Here's the deal. I am wondering why America is not screaming at the representatives, telling, what the hell are you doing? Here's the reason why. You know, they're trying to pass this tax bill saying that, oh, it's going to stimulate, you know, the companies to give to the worker and all this other stuff. Are we that stupid? I mean, really, how many decades have we seen corporations laying off people because supposedly ain't got no money, yet they're giving multi-million-dollar bonuses to top CEOs and people in upper management in the corporations? I mean, really, we have to wake up, America. I mean, what the hell is wrong with y'all? I mean, you need to be busting down the doors to your representatives saying, and your congressmen and your senators and saying, look, you morons, we're not going to take this. This is a dog and pony show. You know, they're selling you something. It's a bait and switch. They're telling you, oh, you're going to get this, you're going to get that. You'll probably get like $100 or maybe $400 a year. All fantastic. Take $400 divided by 12. How much is that money? Come on. Really? $50? $40?
Well, that's okay. In year number 2, I believe, starting in 2019, the lowest earners would actually have a tax increase, Ignacio, under this newest tax cuts for Christmas Trump proposal.
It's insane. It's insane. I don't understand how come people are not screaming mad and saying they're not going to take it anymore. I don't understand. You know, I'm not hearing the news that you know, House of Representatives and everything are all up in arms because the public is busting down their door. I don't hear that. What I hear is they're like, oh, we're going to pass it. We're going to pass it. I mean, America, wake up.
Oh, sorry about that, Ignacio. America, wake up. I don't know, man. I hear what you're saying. Just because you don't necessarily hear it on the street doesn't mean that it's not happening. And ultimately, this is the elections have consequences. This is the consequence of having Donald Trump, Republican Congress. This is what's going to happen. What did you think was going to happen? Well, they're going to try to push through tax cuts, but they can't even get their own members on board. They have a slate of things to do within the next couple of weeks. Hell, we might even have a government shutdown.
Merry Christmas.
Obviously, the Republicans have no idea how to govern, although they seem to be pretty good at campaigning.
Folks, we are the Devil's Advocates. We know how to do a little radio or live stream, as the case may be. FCC makes us shut her down, but stick around. More of this fine show live on stream at newstalk1510am.com. More Root and Dom. Perhaps more offensive behavior when we come back.
marijuana is not as dangerous as heroin. Would you agree with that?
I think that's correct.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Good evening, everyone. Due to FCC regulations and that we are a daytime AM radio station, this now concludes our broadcast day. But you don't have to leave us. We do stream online 24/7 at newstalk1510am.com. That's newstalk1510am.com. Or check us out on the TuneIn app at WRRD 1510 AM. For those of you already streaming, we now continue regular programming, and please welcome your friends from the radio station. Say hi, everyone. News Talk 1510 AM, WRRD, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Do you own a rental property, or would you like to partner with a rental investment team? Call the pros you can trust at CCL Management. Rental expertise second to none, a general contractor on staff to direct repairs and improvements, and real estate brokerage services tailored to the small investor. If you're ready to invest in rental property or just need professionals to manage your real estate portfolio, call us, CCL Management, at 608-833-0009 or visit us on the web at cclmanagement.com.
Grass-fed, locally raised.
I'm Perez, chairman of the Democratic National Committee.
Hey, great to be with you. And since I spoke last, I went to my first game at Camp Randall. So
all right.
I was very excited.
Well, I feel quite confident that was a victory as my team's undefeated, Tom.
Hey, I agree. Our team, you should say. My daughter's there at Madison.
Oh, that's right.
It was a great day.
Happy
great
Badgers. Day. The Devil's Advocates, weekday afternoons on 1510 AM, Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
You are listening to Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD, 1510 AM, Waukesha, Milwaukee.
When you need an attorney, trust the voice of experience, the only choice, Lawton and Cates.
I needed an attorney because I was injured at work. I wanted to find a reputable attorney. The results that I got with Lawton and Cates were very good. I'm very happy with the way I was treated and the end result that I got.
Trust the voice of experience. Call the attorneys at Lawton and Cates, 282-6200, 282-6200.
Why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Having trouble finding Connor's middle school? Would you like directions?
No, why is Connor having trouble focusing in school?
Finding lowest airfare to Istanbul.
No, I'm tired of fighting with him over homework.
Home, walk, restaurant. Need a review?
No, I need help. He's very smart, but his mind wanders. He's disorganized.
I think I understand.
Oh, good.
Finding best potatoes for French fries.
No!
Russet, fingerling, Yukon Gold.
Why don't you understand me?
Sorry, I was trying to show how Connor feels every day. Frustrating, isn't it? Redirecting to understood.org.
For the 1 in 5 kids with learning and attention issues, this is what life can feel like. Explore understood.org, a free online resource about learning and attention issues, designed to help your child thrive in school and in life. Understood.org, because understanding is everything.
Brought to you by understood.org and the Ad Council.
People are always looking to invest in a good opportunity. So what if you could invest in the future of kids, like a stock? Not the kind of stock that's about making money, but a stock for social change, called Better Futures. With your investment, it helps students like me go to college. My name is Charles, and I'm your dividend.
Invest in better futures with UNCF. Visit uncf.org/invest. A mind is a terrible thing to waste, but a wonderful thing to invest in. Brought to you by UNCF and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
The big and tall of political talk. Dom and Krutz on The Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates Radio Show. We're in the happiest half an hour of the day, Dom. We'll take you home. Jimi Hendrix, it would have been his birthday today.
It is his birthday. Yeah, he would have been 75 years old today had he lived past 27.
Do you remember another old geezer in the Wisconsin State Senate? His name, Mike Ellis, former Senate president.
Oh, I do remember. He broke a gavel yelling at some protesters one time.
Yes. Not only did he do that, but in perhaps a more noble time, Mike Ellis was the co-creator of the Government Accountability Board. And Mike Ellis's crime, the crime that, convinced him time to retire, was he came out publicly, got a little drunk at a bar with Glenn Grothman, apparently, and said some untoward things about starting a third-party group, coordinating with that group.
Which at the time, he said it was illegal, but it's not now.
Well, it was illegal when Scott Walker was doing it too, but Mike Ellis, this man who had helped create the Government Accountability Board, well, he got taken out by a group called Project Veritas.
And isn't one of the, James O'Keefe from
James O'Keefe.
Project Veritas is going to be on stage with Governor Walker down at Florida over the
week
holidays.
Of Christmas.
Yeah.
And apparently the Veritas, the same group that took out Ellis, the same group that attacked Scotty Fovel, the same group, of course, they took out Acorn, the whole pimps and hoes things. This misleading fake news organization only supported apparently by what?
Governor Walker?
Well, I was going to say Hannity and Walker, but here's the newest story and why I bring this up now. Project Veritas, a woman approached the Post with dramatic and false tale about Roy Moore. She appears to be part of an undercover sting operation. Is that what they're calling this crime now?
I guess.
Catfishing, I think some would call it. A woman who falsely claimed to the Washington Post that Roy Moore, the Republican U.S. Senate candidate in Alabama, impregnated her as a teenager, appears to work with an organization that uses deceptive tactics to secretly record conversations in an effort to embarrass its targets. The series of interviews over the last 2 weeks, I'm reading from MSN. Thank you, Karen, for sharing it with us. In a series of interviews over 2 weeks, the woman shared a dramatic story about an alleged sexual relationship with Moore in 1992 that led to an abortion when she was 15. During the interview, she repeatedly pressed Post reporters to give their opinions on what effects her claims could have on Moore's candidacy if she went public. The Post did not publish an article based on her unsubstantiated account. When Post reporters confronted her with inconsistencies in her story and an internet posting that raised doubts about her motivations, she insisted that she was not working with any organizations that target journalists. But on Monday morning, Post reporters saw her walking into the New York offices of Project Veritas, an organization that targets the mainstream news media and left-leaning groups. The organization sets up undercover stings that involve using false cover stories and covert video recordings meant to expose what the group says is media bias. James O'Keefe, you know that bastard, Don, the founder of Project Veritas, who was convicted of a misdemeanor in 2010 for using a fake identity to enter a federal building during a previous sting, I'm throwing my air quotes out there, declined to answer questions about the woman outside the Project Veritas office, a storefront in New York, on Monday morning shortly after the woman walked inside. I'm not doing interviews right now, so I'm not going to say a word. In a follow-up interview, O'Keefe declined to answer repeated questions about whether the woman was employed at Project Veritas. He also did not respond when asked if he was working with Moore, former White House advisor and Moore supporter Stephen K. Bannon, or Republican strategists. The group's efforts illustrate the lengths to which activists have gone to try and discredit media outlets for reporting on allegations from multiple women that Moore pursued them when they were teenagers and he was in his early 30s. Moore has denied that he did anything improper. Yeah. A spokesman for Moore's campaign did not immediately respond to a message for comment. The women who approached the Post reporters, Jamie T. Phillips, did not respond to calls to her cell phone Monday morning. Her car remained in the Project Veritas parking lot for more than an hour. And after Phillips was seen entering the Project Veritas office, the Post made the unusual decision to report her previous off-the-record comments. You got that?
I do. We always honor off-the-record agreements when they're entered into in good faith, said Martin Barron, the Post executive editor. But this so-called off-the-record conversation was the essence of a scheme to deceive and embarrass us. The intent by Project Veritas clearly was to publicize the conversation if we fell for the trap. Because of our customary journalistic rigor, we weren't fooled, and we can't honor an off-the-record agreement that was solicited in maliciously bad faith. Phillips' arrival at the Project Veritas office capped a weeks-long effort that began only hours after the Post published an article on November 9th that included allegations that Moore once initiated a sexual encounter with a 14-year-old named Lee Korfman. Post reporter Beth Reinhardt, who co-wrote the article about Korfman, received a cryptic email early the next morning. Roy Moore in Alabama. I might know something, but I need to keep myself safe. How do we do this? The apparent tipster wrote under an account with the name Lindsey James. The email's subject line was Roy Moore in AL. The sender's email address included a Roll Tide, a rallying cry of the University of Alabama sports teams, which are nicknamed the Crimson Tide. Richard Reinhardt sent an email asking if the person was willing to talk off the record. Not sure if I trust the phone, came the reply. Can we just stick to email? I need to be confident that you can protect me before I will tell all, the person wrote in a subsequent email. I have stuff I've been hiding for a long time, but maybe it should stay that way. The tipster's email came amid counterattacks by Moore's supporters aimed at the Post and its reporter. That same day, Gateway Pundit, a conservative site, spread a false story from a Twitter account that said a family friend in Alabama just told my wife that a Washington Post reporter named Beth offered her thousands of dollars to accuse Roy Moore. The Twitter account, which has a history of spreading misinformation, has since been deleted. The Post, like many other news organizations, has a strict policy against paying people for information and did not do so in its coverage of Moore. On November 14th, a pastor in Alabama said he received a voicemail from a man falsely claiming to be a Post reporter and seeking women, quote, willing to make damaging remarks about Moore for money. No one associated with the Post made any such call. In the days that followed the purported tipster's initial emails, Reinhardt communicated with the woman through an encrypted text messaging service and spoke by phone with the person to set up a meeting. When the woman suggested a meeting in New York, Reinhardt told her she would have to know more about her story and her background. The woman offered her real name was Jamie Phillips. Phillips said she lived in New York but would be in the D.C. area during Thanksgiving week and suggested meeting Tuesday in a shopping mall at Tyson's Corner, VA. I'm planning to do some shopping there, so I'll find a good place to meet before you get there, Phillips wrote in a message sent via Signal, the encrypted messaging service. When Reinhardt suggested bringing another reporter, Phillips wrote, I'm not really comfortable with anyone else being there this time. Reinhardt arrived to find Phillips wearing a brown leather jacket and with long red hair already seated in a booth in the restaurant. The 41-year-old said she had been abused as a child, Reinhardt said. Her family had moved off him. She said she moved in with an aunt in the Talladega area of Alabama and started attending church youth group when she met Moore in 1992, the year he became a county judge. She said she was 15. She said they started a secret sexual relationship. I knew it wasn't right, but I didn't care, she said.
She said that she got pregnant, that Moore talked her into an abortion, and that he drove her to Mississippi to get it. In the interview, she told Reinhardt that she was so upset she couldn't finish her salad. Phillips said she had started thinking about coming forward after the allegations about Hollywood film producer Harvey Weinstein surfaced. Then she said she saw the news about Moore flashing across the television screen while in a break room at her job at the company called NFM lending in Westchester County, New York, Reinhardt said. Phillips also repeatedly asked the reporter to guarantee her that Moore would lose the election if she came forward.
What?
Reinhardt told her in a subsequent text message that she could not predict what the impact would be. Reinhardt also said she explained to Phillips that her claims would have to be fact-checked. Additionally, Reinhardt asked her for documents that could corroborate or support her story. Later that day, Phillips told Reinhardt that she felt anxiety and negative energy coming from our meeting and you just didn't convince me that I should come forward, she wrote. Reinhardt replied, I'm so sorry, but I want to be straight with you about the fact-checking process and the fact that we can't guarantee what will happen as the result of another story. Phillips was not satisfied. On Wednesday, the day before Thanksgiving, she suggested meeting with another Post reporter, Stephanie McCrumman, who co-wrote the initial article about Korfman. I'd rather go to another paper than talk to you again, Phillips told Reinhardt. Back at the newsroom, Reinhardt became concerned about elements of Phillips' story. Phillips had said she lived in Alabama only for a summer when a teenager, but the cell phone number Phillips provided had an Alabama area code. Reinhardt called MFM Lending in Westchester County, but they said a person named Jamie Phillips did not work there. Alice Kreitz, a Post researcher, was looking into Phillips' background, found the document that strongly reinforced the reporter's suspicions. A webpage for a fundraising campaign by someone with the same name. It was on the website GoFundMe under the name Jamie Phillips. I'm moving to New York, the May 29th appeal said. I've accepted a job to work in a conservative media movement to combat the lies and deceit of the liberal mainstream media. I'll be using my skills as a researcher and fact checker to help our movement. I was laid off from my mortgage job a few months ago and came across the opportunity to change my career path. In March, posting on its Facebook page, Project Veritas said it was seeking 12 new undercover reporters though the organization's operatives use methods that are skewed by mainstream journalists, such as misrepresenting themselves. Yeah. I didn't learn that at J-School. A posting for journalist job on the Project Veritas website that month warned that the job is not a role for the faint of heart. The job's listed goal to adopt an alias persona, gain access to an identified person of interest, and persuade that person to reveal information.
Do you have to sleep with them?
Maybe. If necessary, right?
Well.
It also listed tasks that the job applicant should be able to master, including learning a script, preparing a background story to support your role, gaining an appointment or access to the target of investigation, and operating concealed recording equipment. That's illegal in some states, isn't it?
In some.
Jamie Phillips is a relatively common name, but there's another telling detail. One of the 2 donations listed on the site was from a name that matched her daughter's, according to public records. McCrumman agreed to meet Phillips that afternoon. Phillips suggested meeting somewhere in Alexandria, Virginia, saying she was shopping in that area. Post videographers accompanied McCrumman, who brought a printout of the fundraising page to the interview. Again, Phillips had arrived early and was waiting for McCrumman, her purse resting on the table. When McCrumman put the purse near Phillips' purse to block a possible camera, Phillips moved hers. The Post videographer sat separately, unnoticed, at an adjacent table. Phillips said she didn't want to get into the details of what she had said happened between her and Moore. She said she wanted McCrumman to assure her that the article would result in Moore's defeat, according to the recording. McCrumman instead asked her about her story regarding Moore. Phillips complained that President Trump had endorsed Moore. So my whole thing is like, I want to be completely taken out of the race, and I really expected that was going to happen, and now it's not, so I don't know what you think about that. McCrumman asked Phillips to verify her identity with photo identification. Phillips provided a Georgia driver's license. McCrumman then asked her about the GoFundMe page. We have a process of doing background, checking backgrounds and things of that, and this kind of thing. So I wanted to ask you about one thing, McCrumman said, pulling out a copy of the page and reading from it. So I just wanted to ask you if you could explain this. And I also want to let you know, Jamie, that this is being recorded and video recorded. Okay, Phillips said, yeah, I was looking to take a job last summer in New York, but it fell through, Phillips said. Yeah, it's going to be with the Daily Caller, but it ended up falling through, so I wasn't able to do it. When asked who at the Daily Caller interviewed her, Phillips said, Kathy, pausing before adding the last name Johnson. Paul Connor, executive editor of the Daily Caller, said Monday that no one with the name Kathy Johnson works for the publication and that he has no record of having personally interviewed Phillips. Connor later said in an email that he had asked other top editors at the Daily Caller and affiliated Daily Caller News Foundation about Phillips. None of us had interviewed a woman by the name Jamie Phillips. At the Alexandria restaurant on Wednesday, Phillips also told the Post that she had not been in contact with Moore's campaign. As the interview ended, Phillips told McCrummen she was not recording the conversation. I think I probably just want to cancel and not go through with it at this point, Phillips said at the bar shortly before ending the interview. I'm not going to answer any more questions, she said. I think I'm just going to go. She picked up her coat and bag, returned her drink to the front counter, and left the restaurant. At 7 p.m., the message on the GoFundMe page was gone, replaced by a new one. Campaign is complete and no longer active, it read.
Wow. They will go through any lengths to try to prove, that Roy Moore didn't molest little girls by disproving, by shedding some shade, putting some shade on the Washington Post. Crudy, however.
It took out Dan Rather. Let's not forget the W story about being a deserter from his Texas National Guard position. The false evidence presented by Dan Rather lost him a job at CBS.
Also from the Washington Post regarding the Alabama senatorial race, retired Marine Colonel to launch a Senate write-in campaign. Lee Busby of Tuscaloosa once served as a top aide to White House Chief of Staff John Kelly. Now he plans to launch a long-shot write-in campaign with just 15 days until the special election in Alabama. If another Republican gets in this race,
then Roy Moore might lose.
Told you, man, Roy Moore will not be senator.
I'm not so clear. I think he could still win. Come back with us. More Devil's Advocates. Phone lines open to you, 844-967-2789. Happy birthday, Jimi Hendrix.
Well, I hear my train a-coming.
You want answers?
I want to see virtue and morality returned to our country.
You can't handle the truth.
Crime, corruption, immorality, abortion, sodomy, sexual perversion sweep our land.
I would rather you just said thank you and went on your way.
Transgender troops in our bathroom.
You like movies about gladiators?
And then we will be straight.
Very powerful.
Wisconsin's doing terribly. The roads are a disaster because they don't have any money to rebuild them. They're borrowing money like crazy. They projected a $1 billion surplus, and it turns out to be a deficit of $2.2 billion. The schools are a disaster. The hospitals and education is a disaster. And when I see Scott Walker with his little motorcycle and he puts his helmet on and he gets off and he makes a speech, but he's always riding like, he gets off a bike like he's a big tough guy, okay, or a little tough guy. Their lobbyists, their special interests, and their donors will start calling. They gave you $1 million to your campaign, and this one gave you $5 million, and this one, you have to do it. You know what he's going to say? Okay, I'll do it.
Mr. Trump, you're using the talking points of the Democrats, and as we all know, that
I'm using facts.
This message was paid for by the People for People Corporation. Donate online at p4ppc.org, p4ppc.org.
So, Jesse, why should someone buying a home pay for an agent when they can go online or call a number on the for sale sign?
Great question. First of all, never call the number on a sign to see a home. That's the seller's agent, and they don't represent your interests. If they show you the home outside of an open house, you forfeit your ability to have someone negotiate in your corner to buy that house at no cost to you.
Well, with interest rates still at historic lows, how can buyers still get a great deal and protect their rights?
Step 1, find a buyer's agent that you trust.
Like you?
Like me. I will find the home that best fits your needs, anticipate problems, and negotiate on your behalf from the offer through closing day. And the best part is that the buyer doesn't have to pay a dime for me to represent them.
Solidarity Realty. They're real, they're solid, they're honest. Whether buying or selling in Madison or Dane County, call Solidarity Realty, 608-282-8282. 284-9311 or find them at solidarityrealty.com.
Hi, this is Brad Saug, owner of Zero Res Madison Carpet Cleaning. Zero Res is the best new technology in carpet cleaning. We have a patented process using empowered water, a high-tech process in which we force the water to act like soap. It doesn't want to stay in that state. It's jacked up and it's angry and it wants to hit the dirt and then it neutralizes. When we're done, all that's left in your carpet is just light moisture. In the end, you get the cleanest, greenest, healthiest carpet cleaning available. Call us at 848-9000. Zero Res. Spell it backward or forward. It's the right way to clean.
You've been taking the right actions, resisting the GOP's destruction of our state and country. You've marched, written letters, and listened to those busy signals day after day. Countless times you've hashtagged and frowny-faced articles on social media. You're not alone, but it's time to take the next steps. All politics are local. Support, vote, and elect progressive candidates to office with your Democratic Party. Your ideas and energy are what the party is missing. This ad sponsored by the Walworth County Dems, walworthdems.org.
Have a drink at Regano's Roman Coin. This neighborhood corner tavern is as classic as the street it occupies. Family owned and operated since 1966, Regano's Roman Coin is located in a former Pabst Tide House on historic Brady Street, serving an array of craft beers with a focus on Wisconsin breweries. Also, weekly drink specials, trivia on Wednesdays, seasonal sporting events, parties hosted for all occasions, and pet friendly. Open 11 a.m. Tuesday through Friday, 10 a.m. Saturday and Sunday, closed on Monday. Regano's Roman Coin, Milwaukee's pet friendly, cash only order and classic corner tavern.
Make sure you tune in to News Talk 1510 a.m. throughout the day for breaking news and up-to-the-minute political commentary. Monday through Friday, start your day with the Earl Ingram Show, 7 to 9 a.m. From 9 to 11, take a deep dive into Milwaukee news and Wisconsin politics on 414 Wisconsin with Brian Kelly and me, Stu Mann, the newsman. From 11 to 2, it's the Tom Hartman program. Then from 2 to 5, join us for the greatest radio show ever, The Devil's Advocates with Dom and Crute. Join the Resistance. News Talk 1510 a.m. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio.
Bring it? Oh, it's already been brought in. Dom and Crute are the Devil's Advocates.
Welcome back to the Devil's Advocates radio show on 1510 a.m. Wisconsin's Resistance Radio, WRRD.
Buddy, quick programming note. Our good friend Earl Ingram, morning show host here on 1510 a.m., will have the Speaker of the Wisconsin Assembly, Republican Robin Vos, live at 8:05 tomorrow morning. That's Central Time. And apparently the Assembly Speaker, that means Robin Vos, has called a meeting with staff to address sexual harassment policies. Now, listen closely. Assembly Speaker Robin Vos has called a mandatory meeting with Assembly staff this week to address ways workers can report sexual harassment. Now, I'd point out the former Republican Majority Leader Bill Kramer from the Assembly side did 5 months in jail for sexually attacking Ron Johnson's aide. But it happened 3 years prior to the charges. First, he had to perpetrate twice again. Now, here's the other part I find quite, let's call it just a skosh offensive. A quote quickly from the Speaker. The Assembly takes reports of sexual harassment very seriously. We want to make sure all staff are comfortable and familiar with how to make a report and explain the process that occurs if one is made, says Robin Vos, in an email. What he fails to mention, lawmakers are exempted from the meeting.
Oh, come on.
No mandatory attendance for the lawmakers. It's
only the staff.
It's encouraged.
Although, as far as we know, the last one we know was an actual lawmaker was perpetuating these crimes.
Well, usually it's the person in a position of power that perpetrates the crimes. The powerless staffers are less likely to be the perpetrators of the crime of sexual harassment.
Well, they could be harassing other staffers.
Sure.
But if it's that important, perhaps some of
mandatory attendance
for everybody.
Buddy, we had some fine guests today. They included Scott Ross, Executive Director, One Wisconsin Now, Tony Eber, State Superintendent, Department of Public Instruction. He, of course, a Democratic gubernatorial candidate. We appreciate you listening along.
And we want to thank our sponsors as well. 5 Nines, ACLU, CCL Management, Lawton and Cates, Solidarity Realty, General Teamsters, Local Union 200, and the Local Union 344, The People for People Corporation, Pete's Fruit Market, Regano's, Roman Coin, and Zero Res.
We'll do it all again tomorrow for you. Please Tune in, 1510 AM, Wisconsin's only Resistance Radio, and always streaming live 24/7 News Talk, 1510am.com.
Transgender troops in our bathroom.
My God, who the hell cares?
Did you ever eat a perfect peach? Flavorful and succulent, juice dripping from your mouth. That's what you can expect every time you shop at Pete's Fruit Market. A perfect peach or any other fresh produce to satisfy your taste buds. Try Pete's brand new, clean, bottled, full-service grocery store on Martin Luther King and North Avenue. Daily specials, organic fruits and vegetables, and always a perfect peach.